And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Tingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Yikes, you bet, concur. Welcome to another episode of NASA Spaceflight Live. I'm your host for this week, Jack Beyer, content manager for NASA Spaceflight, and I am joined, as always, by our ever-competent cohort of co-hosts, starting with, let's see if I can do this right. Wait, there we go. Starting with Sawyer. Sawyer, how you doing, buddy? Good teaser. And we will, in fact... Oh, Sawyer was
There we go.
muted?
Sorry about that. That was
Try
that was
again.
a yikes. Hi. It's fantastic to be here. Just a couple hours ago, I was watching an Atlas V take off, and now we're here to talk about all different kinds of space stuff. So I'm excited.
Good deal. And we're also joined by Trevor today. Trevor, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It was a very eventful week with lots of Starship news, lots of Falcon 9, and lots of other stuff. So I think it'll be an interesting show, some good discussions.
Yeah, it's been an extremely action-packed week, and we've got a lot to talk about, including Silent Barker, and also, of course, Starship and the FAA. We will get to that. If you have any questions, throw them in chat. Type at NASA Spaceflight into chat, and we will see your questions pop up in some nifty software. I used to always say some software that Michael wrote, but it just doesn't feel right anymore. But every time I say some nifty software and I leave off the bit about Michael, I get a little bit sad, but them's the times. Just hand on heart. Good deal. All right, well, with that, how about we start the week off with some moon updates as the crowd softly chants, moon, moon, moon. Sawyer, what's going on the old moon?
Well, it's been quite a busy week in terms of sending things to the moon. We'll start with what's already there, and that's Chandrayaan-3, which was launched by ISRO, aka India's space agency, and successfully touched down on the moon a short while ago and released its rover. Since then, it's done quite a few exciting things, including, taking a page out of Starhopper's test, a little hop. It actually went up, I believe it was about 37 meters, and then came back down and landed a second time, making that only the second vehicle in history to land on the moon, take off, and then land again intentionally with the engines on there. So it did a little hop test, so making some huge improvement there. Already some amazing science experiments are coming through. They've already found sulfur on the moon using some laser spectroscopy. It's just really cool, exciting stuff. Now, right now it is in a sleep period, which sounds like it would be a bad thing. It's not, actually. It's used up all its battery for now, but they are waiting for the sun to come around again. So if they set up the solar panels exactly where it needs to be, that come the 22nd of September, it should get light once again from the moon, and then we should have more science data coming back from the surface. And there's another mission that's now on its way to the moon as well. And that was a launch from Japan. It was actually a dual mission aboard an H-2A rocket. The first one was called XRISM, spelled XRISM. I guess different from how Elon pronounces all the different X's in his names. But that's an X-ray imaging and spectroscopy mission in collaboration with NASA. Basically, a temporary X-ray telescope until their next big one goes out. But the big one is SLIM. So SLIM is the smart lander for investigating the moon. And that launch is going as well as it can so far. It's right now going to spend a few weeks in Earth adjusting its orbit and then go from there.
Good deal. So I guess now the name of the game for India's lunar lander is, will it survive lunar night? They don't know if it will or not. Is that an accurate assessment, or are we staying optimistic, or what's the word there?
I mean, they plan for this. It's part of their plan that, okay, we know it's going to go into sleep mode. We know the battery's going to completely run out. So what we'll do is we'll wait till the sun comes right back around to its best position, given where the lander is, which they're expecting to happen, again, September 22nd. And hopefully once the sun starts rising there and hitting the solar panels again, they should have enough power to have it send a wake-up signal and eventually start doing science again. So basically a whole nother test in a way of, can they shut it down and bring it back when the batteries are dead? And you can see there, that is the actual hop test, by the way. That is real video from Chandrayaan actually lifting off and landing again. I love that.
So tell me about the hop test. This is to gain data on propulsive liftoff and landing on the moon, or what's the sort of the purpose there?
I mean, that seems to be one of the main purposes of it. Again, just proof of concept that it landed and then that you can get up and land again. I think that also may be important in the future of if you want, I guess it's lunar point to point, for lack of a better way to put it, that, you could set up a base somewhere and a mine somewhere else or a telescope somewhere else and then hop from one part of the moon to the other. So again, it's more a proof of concept at this point, and also now they can say they're the second one ever to do it.
Good deal. Well, more science is more better, and India is absolutely going to unlock so many things on the tech tree. They're going to get all kinds of new parts. It's a Kerbal joke. Anyways, moving right along. I do want to, right off the bat, thank Kivo Rev. Kivo Rev coming out with a huge amount of support right off the bat with a $100 super chat. Thank you so much, Kivo. They say, thanks for the hard work, everyone. Dinner is on me. Thank you. That is an absolute, I don't even know what to say. It's a huge amount of money. Thank you. The fact that you trust us to bring you your space news and are joining us on this fabulous Sunday is humbling and amazing. And there's truly nothing I could say to accurately thank you for that level of support. I'm almost speechless. Thank you, Kivo Rev. That's really, truly outstanding. We also have Drayon X. I hope I'm not butchering that. Thank you for becoming a Red Team member. And Jeff Rowe gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you, Jeff Rowe. He's He's Mike Rowe's brother. Dirty Jobs? I'm so old. Anyways,
Yeah,
RC
I
Horseman.
was thinking the same thing. Don't worry.
RC Horseman, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Coco Cats gifting a Red Team membership. Musical Wolves coming in with a super chat. Thank you, Musical Wolves. Always a pleasure to see your name pop up. How does Musical Wolves always have good questions? Like literally every stream, there's multiple Musical Wolves super chats with multiple good questions. They say, are there plans to do the first Mars rover, but do what the first Mars rover did, but on the moon? What did the first Mars rover do? I feel like this is a riddle inside of a question.
Are we talking about going all the way back to Viking? And Mars in the little Pathfinder rover? Or
Musical Wolves, at me in chat and clarify, please. We are slightly flummoxed.
Or are they potentially talking about Ingenuity and helicopter on the moon?
Sojourner?
Sojourner, thank you. Yes, not Pathfinder. That was the first one, yeah.
Let's see if Musical Wolves pings me in chat. I will keep an eye out. But thank you, Musical Wolves. We'll try and get a better answer for you there. Also,
but in terms of the power, though, I can say, though, it is doing similar to what they did with Spirit and Opportunity. There were a couple of times where both of our early on rovers there, which ran on solar panel, the rest of them now are nuclear powered. The solar panels would get covered in the Martian dust. And there was one point they thought that one of the rovers was completely gone, unrevivable, and then a dust storm came through And instead of adding more dust, it cleared off the panels, booted right back up.
Good deal. Well, that makes sense. Screen name, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships, and Revhead gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Y'all are the best. Can I just say that? Can I just take a moment? Take off my journalism hat? Put on my thank you hat? Y'all are the best. Like, the amount of support we get from you guys is truly outstanding. And, I always say it, we couldn't do what we do without you, but it's absolutely amazing. Ooh, what are we looking at here?
That's a Japanese H-2A rocket from the Tanegashima Space Center, if I recall correctly. Again, that was the launch of the Japanese kind of dual mission there with an X-ray telescope as well as their next lunar landing attempt, which is still a little bit away from the actual landing itself. It still even has a couple more weeks before it leaves Earth's orbit on its way to the moon. But nonetheless, there seems to be a lot of interest and excitement again in the moon. And again, I know there's obviously the work going on with Artemis and things like that, and Starship to actually land on the moon. But the fact that now you have all these countries doing their own scientific experiments, and what I find also really interesting, especially in regards to Chandrayaan-2, is that aimed towards the South Pole, first one to ever land there. That's kind of the area where humans are looking at right now as well, as to where they want to settle down and set up a base. So they're doing a lot of experimentation there on things like temperature, the environment, amount of sunlight, all these different things, which, sure, it's great to know about. It's great for the rover, but these are also going to be crucial for once we get to Artemis 3 and beyond.
Yeah, it really seems like a new race to the moon is getting into full swing, and you love to see it because we went there in the frickin' 60s and 70s, and it's just like, can we please go back and for real this time? Makes me happy. Trevor, does it make you happy?
How could it not? I mean, it's awesome that we're finally seeing the importance of beyond low Earth orbit spaceflight again. And I think in the future, between the Artemis program and China becoming more serious about going to the moon, we're in for some very exciting times.
You love to see it. Holy cow! Or should I say holy unicorn? Stabby Unicorn, which is quite a delightful name. Coming in with, is that 2 $100 tips at tips.nasaspaceflight.com? What? I mean, okay, the message they input is, I want cupcakes. Stabby Unicorn, you find me, you come down here to Starbase, I will bake you cupcakes. This is an absurd amount of support. Thank you so much. What? Now all I can think about is a Stabby Unicorn eating cupcakes. Why would you full screen on that? Don't full screen on that. Thank you, Stabby Unicorn. That is absolutely otherworldly amount of support. Hey, see what I did there? Thank you for the single ha, Sawyer. Seriously.
You're welcome.
Once again, thank you everybody for all the support. I think that about does... Oh, we do have some moon Mikhail is asking, what are the origins of the moon chant? That is from, I think, the first Artemis attempt live stream. I was a little bit sleep deprived and full of Red Bull and started off the stream by describing the crowd of people around the world quietly chanting moon, moon, moon. And it's kind of ballooned from there. Or I guess you could say it's bemooned.
Ooh, hey. Using the pun token, so I don't have to.
That was bad. I only did that for you, Sawyer. I want you to know that.
I appreciate it.
Seriously, once again, thank you, Stabby Unicorn. You are awesome. That is, again, there's just no adequate way to thank you. So what we will do in thanks is to continue along with the program here and keep talking about cool...
Yeah, because I think they're trying to break you again, Jack. It's been a while since we've broken you on stream.
That's true. That's like back in the old Starship low altitude flight test days. I would become literally speechless. I guess I'm just a little bit jaded and sunburnt now, but but it is still possible. Cool. Well, let's move right along here and talk about Atlas 551 lifting Silent Barker into orbit this morning. What a beautiful stream. What a beautiful launch. And Sawyer, you were there in person, were you not?
I was, yeah. I don't know who your field commentator was, but he was just okay. Yes. The Atlas V 551 launching the final Atlas mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. In fact, all future NRO missions with ULA are now scheduled to take place on Vulcan. NROL 107 Silent Barker was definitely not silent as it took off at, I believe, 8:47 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. It ended up getting delayed quite a bunch. First, it was supposed to happen right after Crew 7, but then we had Hurricane Idalia come through. Then we had, they were going to try on Saturday, and they realized that one of the circuits wasn't exactly how it was supposed to be and could have caused some serious problems. So they had to scrub again. And yeah, but now we are here finally on the third try, and off it went. And it was an absolutely beautiful launch this morning, gorgeously clear skies. And the best part about the Atlas is that you get that plume coming out from underneath it, like you see right there. I mean, as great as Falcon is, the way that those GEM solid rocket motors burn, you really get to see Atlas. You get to see how much it turns east. You get to see all of the little moves that it makes. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, what we do know of what the satellite is supposedly going to do in orbit, it's supposed to provide the capability to search, detect, and track objects from a special space-based sensor, as they call it, for timely custody and event detection. Basically, it sounds like they're trying to catch bad military things from space before they happen. So it was beautiful. And again, I believe there's only 17 Atlas V launches left.
Yeah, did I read this right, that this is the last 551 to launch?
I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure on that, though.
Okay, we have Joe Kangas in chat asking, with the last flight of the Atlas 551, if that's in fact the last flight, what is now the most powerful Atlas still flying? I am not aware of it being the last one, but I could just not know.
No, I think a majority of the ones that are left are the 551. I know for sure they're all 5-meter fairings. 4-meter fairing variant is completely done.
Yeah, and we have Alex on our back channel saying they're going to launch Amazon's Kuiper satellites. Is it Kuiper? Kuiper?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to
Kuiper.
say that? Kuiper satellites on the 551. So this is not the last 551.
Right. And yeah, it's... and I think there's also Viasat that's going to be launching one more. Oh, Alex saying, yeah, Viasat 3 as well. It's not the last one, but there's not that many variants kind of left that they're using. The one that it seems like they're holding back on the most right now is the N22, which means no fairing, 2 solids, and then 2 engines on the Centaur upper stage, which is used for Starliner when that eventually takes off.
Good deal. Let's see here. You said this a moment ago, but we had a question from Maria. We might as well underscore it. How many Atlases left? You said 19?
I believe it's 17 Atlas launches left. My understanding, if I recall, they run through 2029 at this point. So Pad 41 is going to be quite busy, as they're going to be going back and forth between, hey, here's an Atlas launch, and now, hey, here's a Vulcan launch. They're actually, while I was out at the pad afterwards for remote camera pickup,
Right.
You can see all of the different flare stacks.
Yes, there's 2 flare stacks, right?
Yes, and they're pretty much right next to each other, actually. You could see the one that was on for the hydrogen, and then there's another one opposite side there for the methane.
And one of the things we learned on the stream this morning was that they use propane to burn off those propellants. So I guess you could say a flare stack is a propane accessory, which, boy, I tell you what, that's a clean burning fuel.
One thing I can say that is not a clean burning fuel is what's inside those GEM 63s, aka the solid rocket motors.
Yeah, I mean, the plume is really cool. It's a nice change of pace from like a clean Falcon 9 launch where there is no plume of that nature. You love to see those solids because it's just a completely different beast in terms of visual experience. But
There's a big but there. Is that
don't love the like burning aluminum shooting through the atmosphere.
And on top of that, the residue that it leaves afterwards. I left my tripod in the other room. Was going to show how covered in residue it is. But the main takeaway from that is it definitely will stick to everything. The pad itself, Max described it as smelling like battery acid spilled everywhere. I kind of describe it as it was supposed to be something sweet, but then all of a sudden it's been out so long that it starts to turn sour. You get a touch of the sweetness, but mostly sour. And then, you wear gloves normally picking these up. And I wore the gloves, and I got into the car, and I went to take the plastic covering that I had off of my camera with an ungloved hand. And it's still a little bit pruny, actually, and they're still tingling. So, yeah, that was about 3 hours ago.
Cat.
Hi, Jake.
Hi, Jake.
He's checking up on me to see if I can still feel my fingers or not.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Maybe wash your hand a couple more times. Yeah, I don't know if that'll help at this point, but the things we do.
There's a lot of Purell, and if all of a sudden I start typing with one hand during the stream, you know why.
All right. Well, the things we do for rocket launches. Oh man. Let's see here. We've got some Atlas V questions. Let's jump into those, and then I got a whole bunch of people to thank because y'all are keeping up the amazing amount of support here. Let's do some Atlas V questions, though. Right off the bat, Paul Kelly is asking, why haven't we seen any Amazon Kuiper launches yet? Do we have a reason? Is it just ULA is waiting for delivery of satellites? Are they not ready yet? What's the deal there? Trevor, you look like you have something to say.
We will see some very soon. I believe next month there's the Kepler satellite prototype satellites flying, which I believe there'll be 2 of those. I don't think we know what orbit they're going to or anything yet, but that'll be the first launch. And so far, it's just been satellite readiness. And then hopefully, after those are in orbit and they have good data from those, there are 8 other Atlas V missions for Kepler, however it's pronounced.
Kuiper.
Kuiper. So yeah, that's supposed to be next month, and it'll be interesting to see how quickly they start launching after that. Keep in mind that the constellation is significantly smaller than Starlink. If I remember correctly, a complete constellation will be roughly 33 to 3,500 satellites, when Starlink is currently at over 5,000 launched. So yeah.
So 5,000. Wait, that's
Wow.
9,000.
It was a good. I got you. It's kind of wild, though. I mean, I presume they're going to start launching these on Vulcan as well, and presumably eventually Blue Origin rockets whenever those come online. But to launch 2 satellites, even demo satellites on a single rocket versus 50 or 20 Starlinks, it's going to take a lot of launches. We'll have to see what New Glenn can do when it comes online, and with its giant payload fairing, how many it can loft at once. But either way,
yeah,
it's going to be a lot of launches.
And don't forget, they're working on that Kuiper facility as well now. That's right near the former shuttle landing facility. Now the launch and landing facility. So there are plans on it. That's for sure.
Trevor, did you have a thought?
No, it'll also be interesting. I don't think we've talked about it on NSF Live yet, but the other day, some major Amazon shareholders actually submitted a lawsuit against the board of directors, noting or claiming that when they were doing launch contracts for Kepler, they didn't take into account SpaceX. And according to the lawsuit, allegedly they completely ignored SpaceX's offerings because of their competing product. And because of that, it's the shareholders' claim that they will be paying, quote, hundreds of millions of dollars more, end quote, for launch contracts for these satellites. So it'll be interesting to see if that lawsuit goes anywhere, if there's any merit to it. But I think it's an interesting point to bring up.
I mean, I kind of see both sides on that one. Amazon and Blue Origin are 2 different companies, but obviously there's synergies there, given that they have the same CEO, or owner, I should say. But I mean, it's the perils of being a publicly traded company, right? You have a fiduciary duty to your shareholders to maximize your profits, and to spend extra money on a launch when you don't need to, even if that means you're sort of, dog fooding your own or your owner's own launch service. I don't know. It's tricky. I mean, I get why they did that. I also get why the lawsuit exists. So I guess, like you said, Trevor, we'll just sort of have to wait and see how that all plays out.
I'm sorry, dog fooding? What is that?
Dog fooding is a term, I believe, from the tech industry where, like, if you have a product, you need to eat they say you need to eat your own dog food to make sure it's good. Like, if the company itself isn't using the product internally, then there's a lower chance of it being a quality product, because if no one's using it, then I'm probably butchering this explanation, but it's a term. I'm not just making it up. Dog fooding, look it up.
Okay, was just confused there a bit.
Yeah, sorry.
Also, breaking news just in. ULA confirms that the NRL 107 mission was a complete success. Again, we didn't know the orbit. We didn't know when the deploy would be. A lot of that was secretive stuff. So we didn't get like exact where it's going to be, what it's going to be doing, when it's going to deploy. But we have confirmation from ULA, quote unquote, mission success.
Hooray, mission success. Now we just have to wait for the Tory tweet of whatever the number is that they're up to at this point.
157. It says it in the tweet.
Excellent. Good deal.
That's so impressive. 157 missions over technically 3 decades with no failures. That's.
Although.
No complete failures.
Yeah, I was going to say we could get into the weeds on that one a little bit, but you're right, Trevor. It's impressive nonetheless.
Yeah, and let's also not bring up the fact that Falcon 9 is now 7 landings away from doing landing successfully. But yeah.
Right. Either way, it's impressive. It's impressive to launch any number of launches without a failure. But yeah, it kind of puts the SpaceX steamroller into perspective with the fact that Falcon 9 is reaching that number with landing boosters is just kind of bonkers. And there's the tweet. Mission success. United Launch Alliance's Atlas V rocket successfully launched Silent Barker NRL 107 for the National Reconnaissance Office. Cool deal. Success 157.
For the EJ fans, you missed your launch 3 launches ago. Sorry.
I know the answer to this one, but I'll throw it to y'all. F14D is asking, why no Atlas 552 launches? Who wants to take this one? Put your hand up.
Sorry, I'm just admiring what's on the other side of the screen there.
What's on the other? Oh, look at that. It's a really beautiful photo of Atlas launching. I wonder who took that. If only there was a prominent watermark on it that allowed us to know who took that and praise the photographer.
If only, yeah.
Seriously, great work, Sawyer. That is a beautiful, beautiful shot. I love the colors of the clouds behind the rocket itself. And
it was great. Those were the only clouds in the whole sky. It was great. And again, I found a nice little spot where the bushes lined up just right, that you get the reflection right between the bushes there too. So framing.
Good deal.
We tried.
Yeah.
Phenomenal shot, Sawyer.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And this one too.
Yeah, in the air there, you get you could see the light hitting it, because again, this was 8:47 in the morning, so it was an hour and a half-ish after sunrise. So the sun was still pretty low enough that it made the lighting really gorgeous on that half of the rocket too, as it kind of leaned into it. And it actually, the booster separation occurred basically looking directly into the sun. So it was a little tough to see that. But, and I mentioned this on the stream, this was the first day launch from Cape Canaveral since Euclid, July 1st, 2023.
Whoa. Wow. That's a lot of night launches in a row. And I'm glad. I'm glad you got to break the streak there. Atlas.
14 straight night launches. 14, no sleep.
It doesn't look like it's wearing on you at all. Yeah, you look completely fine, not traumatized or anything. But really,
no, it's a good thing. Good thing the next one isn't a night launch for Starlink.
And all but 4 of those, or I think Yeah, all but all but three of those missions, I want to say, were Starlink missions during the night. So the 3 a.m. Starlink meme is alive and well.
Good
Yeah,
deal.
and then Crew 7 was also at night too. So
Yeah,
Well, I mean, hey, it gives you a lot of practice for streak shots, right?
although actually, the best streak shot I got was from today. It was a day shot. I haven't edited that yet. So
Why
see
you
how it comes
haven't?
out.
Go away right now. Just quit the stream. Go edit it. I need to see this, Sawyer. Don't actually leave,
I
please.
will.
Don't please don't leave. But for real, Atlas is a beautiful, beautiful vehicle. I mean, just look at that, and it's a beautiful shot, so it helps. But just really outstanding, and not quite golden hour light, but still that beautiful morning sunlight on just the side of the booster. It's just beautiful shot.
Yeah, it made for gorgeous clouds, and the plume itself was just emphasized. Made it look a little, normally it's pretty whitish yellow. This was more like a yellowish orange color. It was great.
Love it. So the question was, why no 552 Atlas 5s? Because the 2 is the number that denotes how many engines are on the Centaur upper stage, and the two engine upper stages are used for Starliner, which doesn't require a fairing, right, Sawyer?
Correct. That's why they call it the N22. The N for the fairing basically being nope.
Nada.
it could be worth mentioning why Starliner missions need 2 engines on the second stage, though.
Please.
And so the reason why they have to do that is because the RL-10 engine on the second stage of Atlas is very, very efficient, has a very high ISP, but its thrust is quite low. I don't have the exact figure up in front of me right now, but I believe it's on the order of 100 kilonewtons. So what that means is the first stage gets really lofted up, and then they fly fairly flat on the second stage, so that they can build up velocity before they end up re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. And what NASA realized when they were looking at abort scenarios in that is that would lead to a fairly sharp angle of re-entry during certain parts of the mission, which could have more G-forces on the vehicle and have a higher heat flux. And they didn't want that, so they wanted to be able to fly Atlas in a flatter profile similar to Falcon 9. So to do that, they had to add another engine to the second stage, which allows it to have higher thrust and then them fly this shallower trajectory.
Thank you for that, Trevor. And here's a final Atlas 5 question before we move right along here. Gonzalo is asking, how powerful is Vulcan compared to Atlas 5? Significantly more powerful, right?
Yeah, I don't know the exact comparison in terms of magnitude, but the biggest advantage that you get is the ability to bring more payload. It also uses the liquid natural gas / methane instead of the RP-1 on the first stage. It's got an upgraded Centaur as well, and this one can take up to 6 solid rocket motors. So my poor camera and fingers are going to have a lot of fun with Vulcan.
Good deal. Hazelnut is asking, is there any reason for all the night launches? What's the advantage of launching at night? Well, actually, fun fact, if you launch during the daytime, there's a big risk that you hit the sun. So I'm being an idiot. No, it's pure chance. It's based on the payload and based on the orbit. Both of you seem pretty mad about my stupid joke. Who wants to talk? I'll stop talking.
So there is some reason behind it. Gosh, that bell is amazing. Yeah. And so there are kind of 2 advantages for SpaceX right now to have night launches. The first is the weather is less awful, which I'm sure Sawyer can tell you more about than I can living in Colorado. And secondly, the crews have been working on Slick 40 during the day for the crew tower construction. So between those 2 things, it's just easier for SpaceX to end up launching at night. And with Starlink, right, depending on the orbital plane that you have a launch opportunity roughly every 90 minutes, if I remember correctly. So they could also launch those during the day. They just choose to launch them at night. It's not like a geostationary mission where you have one fixed window.
And while we're while we're in fight mode here, yeah, I'm going to go with orbital mechanics as my reasoning here. Also, darn orbital mechanics. I can't use the word I really want to about it because night launches. But yeah, it's again, you got to launch when the satellites are going to get exactly where they need to be. Also, when they're not going to be launching right as other satellites are passing by. The last thing you want to do is crash more satellites, other satellites. So you got to find somewhere where it can get into the exact shell that you want it to, the exact spot in the shell that you want it to, and then that you have a clear launch window there. So unfortunately, a lot of those right now, especially now with Group 6, happen to be at night.
Musical Wolves. Oh, that's still the same question for Musical Wolves. We didn't get clarification on that. Sorry, Musical Wolves.
By the way, who won? Who's next? You decide.
I say Trevor won. Sorry, Sawyer. You look so mad.
It's a hybrid of our answers. Like orbital mechanics
Yes.
chooses some of it, weather chooses some of it. So
You both won.
Yeah, the viewer won. We'll go with that.
There we go. You both turned and decked the referee, and the viewer wins. I guess I'm the referee. Don't hurt me. Jim Cavett, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Also, Mick Healy, thank you so much for the super chat there, the 10 curly L's. They're saying, is the moon interest driven by a need to mine tritium for fusion, as well as a Mars jumping off point? I think the moon kind of lends itself to being a good refueling stop. If we can get the infrastructure up, it's also a good place to do science. If you go on the far side of the moon, you can put up a radio telescope that does all kinds of awesome science without the interference from radio frequencies from the Earth itself. I don't know. Does anyone else have anything they want to make the case for moon activity?
Are we ringing the bell again?
It's where all the cheese is. We gotta get more cheese.
There we go. So this time I'm going to win this one. No, but like you mentioned, it's a good jumping off point. It's pretty close, all things considered. I mean, it's 250,000 miles, but compared to Mars or something like that, it gives you great practice with setting up bases, great practice with mining on other bodies, especially with different levels of gravity. Keeping in mind the moon has 1/6 of Earth's gravity, Mars has 1/3 of Earth's gravity. And yeah, it's a good way to test the mining. I don't think yet the main goal is, let's figure out, the tritium or H3, or, that we can use eventually as refueling for Mars. I think right now the goal is figuring out how to live on another planetary body for a long period of time. Because when you go out to Mars, based on the way the orbits are, you're talking, 2-3 year trip. Whereas at least with the moon, if something goes wrong, it's a 2-3 day trip back to Earth.
Right.
So I think it's a great way to test basically what it's going to be like to have humans on Mars, somewhere a lot closer, and that, again, we can get some science from, which may explain a little bit more about the Earth itself and its history. And yeah, at the same time, we may find some good minerals and gases that can be tapped.
Trevor?
Yeah, I agree with everything Sawyer just said. One thing I wanted to add, though, is I don't think the moon would necessarily have higher quantities or higher concentration of tritium. Right, as Sawyer mentioned, tritium is hydrogen that has, a normal hydrogen atom has a single proton and then an electron orbiting it. And tritium has 2 additional neutrons in the nucleus, and then you have deuterium, which is 1 neutron. So you just kind of, tritium just generally has a lower half-life. I believe its half-life is like around 12 years, but I could be wrong about that. So I think you are kind of reliant on making tritium and deuterium for fusion on Earth. And just for those who may be curious why this is important, the activation energy for fusion is significantly lower when you use tritium and deuterium for reacting instead of normal hydrogen. So I'm not sure if that premise is true. I want to do more research into that. That's a very interesting question.
I hear a feature video. No.
Sawyer definitely won that one. Sorry, Trevor.
No, I agree. He had the better answer.
And yet
We're,
Kevin
like-
in the back channel is saying that Trevor won because science.
I mean, I feel like we're kind of like Kevin's kind of drunk with power at this point and just doing fight mode when like we're not fighting. We're not even fighting. Like, do we want to fight? No, I don't think any of us here likes the stubby nozzle. Sawyer, are you a meatball guy?
Yes.
Worm better.
Oh no, don't. Kevin, don't do it.
Worm better. Worm better. Meatball bad.
Oh, Meatball's the OG.
Can I
Yeah,
give the objectively wrong opinion that I think both logos are kind of ugly and NASA should rebrand?
Go away. You're
Yeah,
fired.
that's I'm with Jack on this one.
We can unite, Sawyer, in opposition to Trevor. The worm. How do you not like the? All right. Anyways, moving on. Let's see here. Let's do some more super chats. Screen name. Thank you for the super chat there, saying to the pun fund. Man, we baited Kevin hard on that one. He did not bite. Devin, thank you for the support. They say looking forward to hearing Starship news. Talk about the FAA process. Ready to travel to Boca Chica from Europe. Oh, we will. Just you wait. We will. Starship is coming up next. Bideford. Holy cow, Bideford. Another one of those names we see pop up all the time with the high dollar levels of support. $100 super chat there from Bideford. Thank you, Bideford. They're saying bacon for Jack, pun fun for Sawyer, and an NSF shirt for Trevor on chat. Lol. Hugs to all NSF. Good deal. Thank you so much, Bideford, for all of your support now and in the past, and I'm sure in the future. It's, once again, truly an outstanding amount of support. This has been kind of an overwhelming amount of support for NASA Spaceflight Live. Normally, it's just sort of a chill Sunday stream. So the excitement, we can feel the excitement from y'all. It's palpable. So I can palp it. Is that a word?
I'll just
palpate.
say thank
Thanks.
you. And yesterday was laundry day, and it's still drying, so my NSF merch is in the other room, still kind of wet. Hence, I'm not wearing it.
That's okay.
Thank
I'm
you
wearing-
very much.
I'm wearing 100% Electronica merch, so it's all right. We don't always have to wear merch.
That just means you need more merch at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. Seriously.
That's
Come
true.
on.
That's true. You're not wrong.
And yeah, by the way, upgraded camera, upgraded mic, upgraded shirt.
Nice. You're looking good. It's looking good. I'm a big fan. Also, I dig the astronaut sort of Hall of Fame you got in the background.
Thank you. All those are signed and personalized to me.
Flex.
That's awesome.
Flex.
You know it.
It's like, thank you. I took all of those photos. I am amazing. No, let's see here. Musical Wolves again with another super chat. Thank you, Musical Wolves. Saying Silent Barker patch is as cool as the OFT2 patch merch. I'd agree with that. I think NRO patches are generally about as cool as you can get. Plus, they're all for the classified spooky missions, so, I mean, how could they not be cool? Liam, yay Liam, thank you for the support there. They got something from the store. What'd they get? Ooh, they got the patch. Speaking of, they say this will make a fine addition to my collection, and I can't wait for IF2. I don't think any of us can wait for IF2. Can't happen soon enough. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Jeff Rowe, thanks for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. And Pebmets. I don't have to read this one, do I?
Yes, you do.
Pebmet says Meatball wins. Argument over. Seriously, Pebmets, thank you for the support. They also say, I believe SLS had the worm on the boosters and the Meatball on the Orion, which is a good compromise. Okay. Let's go off the rails here a little bit.
More off the rails, you mean?
Oh, here we go. Okay, so what do we think of having both the Meatball and the worm on a single rocket? I think it's an atrocity because it's like mixing styles. It just doesn't seem right to me. If you're going to have the worm, have the worm. If you're going to have the Meatball, have the Meatball. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Sawyer, what do you think?
It's a way to please everyone, though, because you get the people that love the worm, and you get the people that love the Meatball. So you have both of them. Again, you see that with all of the Crew Dragon missions. You see on the, I believe the second stage, they have the worm and the NASA logo, and then on the capsule itself is just the SpaceX X. But I kind of like seeing both. It's a nod to the past, present, and future, because it's the worm from the 80s. You got both now, and we'll see where they go. But keep in mind, the Meatball was NASA's first original
Yeah,
logo way
yeah.
back when they were founded in 1957. And
So
then once
what?
everyone realized the worm was dated, they said, you know what? Forget that.
Did you
We're
just
going
say the
back to the
worm was?
meatball.
Did you just say the worm was dated? It's
Tell
not
me it
dated.
doesn't look dated.
It still looks futuristic, and I don't know what you're thinking. It does not look dated.
It looks like it belongs in the movie Space Camp from 1984 or 5.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
It is, but it's dated.
I disagree, but you know what? You're allowed to have your own opinion. At the same time, you look super dated. Yeah, that's saying something. A fossil. We already know this. I don't know. Just having the worm and meatball on a single rocket just reeks to me of like if you submitted a resume with multiple different fonts. It's just like, don't do that. That's not how design works. Just don't do that. It's like design by committee. Don't do it. That's
You know
whatever.
what I think the worst atrocity is, though? The new crewed NASA crew mission livery on Falcon 9, where they have both the worm and the meatball on the second stage all like crammed together. It just looks horrible.
I was just saying how good that was.
At that point, you might as well put a worm ball on it.
Yeah, I think
never.
The one time it kind of worked was on Demo 2, where they had the worm on the booster and then the meatballs on the second stage. And then there was like enough space between them that it didn't look too bad. Right. But SpaceX obviously was not happy with that at all. So they don't want to keep doing that livery since they reuse their boosters. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of either.
I like deliveries. I like dual liveries on it. Same thing with like sometimes when you see an airplane that's got it's American Airlines, but it's got the TWA painted tail, like a nod to its past. I like that.
All right. Well, we're all allowed to like our own things, even if we're completely wrong. So let's move right along here.
Wow. Goodbye.
Yeah. Let's see here. LSR is saying we need more explanation from Jack about hitting the sun during day launches. So, fun fact about rockets, they have wings you can't typically see under normal conditions, and they're made out of wax. And if they fly too close to the sun, the wax melts and the rocket falls into the... Anyways.
Okay, Chris.
Pebmets again with another super chat saying meatball wins, argument over. Compromise like SLS, worm on boosters, meatball on Orion. I'll allow it begrudgingly.
I'll allow it.
Let's see here. Snoprog or Snowprog is asking how big a deal, in your collective opinions, is moon mining helium-3? This is a Trevor question if I've ever heard one.
If we can get fusion to work and get energy out of it, I think there's an argument to be made that will be the greatest accomplishment of society ever and will change the world more than anything that we've seen so far. Because what it would ultimately mean is that power doesn't matter because we're basically able to get it for free with zero negative side effects. And actually, it's kind of a net positive because we would end up producing helium, which is something that we're running out of anyway. So I think it would just completely change the paradigm and make the world such a better place. So I really, really hope that fusion happens and that we embrace it when it does happen.
Definitely. Good question there from Snowprog. Lord Maximus 05, thank you for the $20 super chat there. They say, do you think SpaceX should make a super, super heavy booster to get Starship and super heavy booster higher? That's not necessarily the most efficient way to do that, right, Trevor?
You know that I love my math explanation to this one. What I think they're referring to is... hold on, I have a Falcon Heavy right here.
Flex.
If I don't destroy
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
Here we go. So, strapping 3 cores together, except for doing this with Super Heavy, and putting 3 Super Heavies together. Although this is not a very efficient way to increase propellant load that a booster can hold, because what you end up having is, since your tanks are cylindrical, the mass rises with the area or with the radius of the booster, since it's by circumference, when the amount of propellant that you can hold is a function of the area and therefore goes by r squared. So it's way more efficient to have larger diameter tanks than it is to have multiple smaller diameter tanks. And then also, as SpaceX realized with the Falcon Heavy, it is very difficult to just strap 3 boosters together. So I do not think we'll ever see them do it again.
Yeah, and I think Elon years ago even said as much on Twitter. Basically, before they go 3-core super duper heavy, they will just make a bigger diameter super heavy, like expanding from 9 meters to like 12 meters or something like that. So
yeah, he even said 18 meters at once.
Gee, many, that's insane.
Whoa.
Cool deal. Let's do a couple more of these, and then we'll move on to Starship.
Falcon.
Let's see here.
Falcon is next.
Falcon is next. Oh, right, Falcon is next. Oh, wow, I should hurry up. RC Horseman, thank you for the $100 super chat. Absolutely insane. Again, huge amount of support on this stream. Y'all are the best. RC Horseman, another one of those names that pops up all the time. They say, many thanks to NSF. Your entire crew makes understanding present spaceflight understandable. Also, more water for Jack, the field, and Sean. Good deal. We've been like chugging Liquid IV. This is not a sponsored thing. We're not sponsored by Liquid IV, but yeah. So this will go into the Liquid IV fund. Thank you for that. And I am a little bit lobstery. Sorry, I roasted in the sun when they stacked Starship. Forgot my hat. Don't forget your hat.
Me too from today, but I'm so pale you can't actually see it.
Yeah, you look completely normal. I look like a lobster, so I think you came out on top on this one, Sawyer. But thank you, RC Horseman. You are the best. You all are the best. Anybody watching right now, you are the best. Thank you. Robert, thanks for the support. They got something from the store there. They say, thanks for everything. I just got hired at SpaceX, moving to Redmond, Washington next week. Nice. So they'll be working on the internet satellites. And they got a mission patch. Awesome. Pebmets, thank you for the support. They say the worm is new Coke and the meatball is original Coke.
Yes.
No, because new Coke was awful, and so I disagree. Although I never had new Coke. That's before my time. I may be a fossil, but that was before my time. Although Crystal Pepsi, that's where it's at. Neither of you know what I'm talking about.
No, I do. I've had Crystal Pepsi.
Okay, good.
I exclusively drink water.
I know you do. In fact, I have seen it happen not in person, but I've seen you drink copious amounts of water, if not disturbing amounts of water. I don't know how you do it, but props to you for being healthy. Ronald, thank you for the support. They got something from the store as well. What did they get? Mission patch. I mean, the mission patches, they're selling like hotcakes, and rightfully so. They say Meatball is the OG. Also, Wallops is the best launch site. Now people are just trying to make me say things I disagree with.
East Coast, West Coast.
Angry noises. Electric Dawn, thanks for the support. They say, I'm older than any of you, and I say Worm and Ball are both good. I win. Compromise. Apocalypse Cow, gifted 10 Red Team memberships. If you got one from Apocalypse Cow, be sure to thank them. Artemis with a $1 super chat. Martin, thank you for grabbing something from the store. They say, keep up the great work, hoping for a great Starship launch. What'd they get? They got a patch. Surprise, surprise. And Screen Name. They say, why does Trevor's clothes rack to the right off of cam look like a Boeing mini shuttle? Side note, chat bingo. They just wanted to get the word shuttle in there.
I thought I brought up shuttle earlier already.
You did.
I not?
You did. And I did see people saying bingo.
Okay, good.
Is that in frame?
Maybe when you're full screen?
Kevin, full screen, please. There you go.
Yeah, over there where you can see all my Taylor Swift hoodies. It's just like some random thing. It's nothing space related. But I will just say these 3 prints are from our phenomenal photographer, Jack Beyer, and then a Lover CD. So thank you, Jack.
You're quite welcome.
It looks like a flattened Snorlax, honestly, but that's another story.
The Flatlax. We are so off the rails at this point.
I think it's the heat stroke for you and I, Jack.
Right. All right, let's talk about Falcon 9's launch cadence. Trevor, take it away, buddy.
It's crazy. Is that enough? No, so, right, SpaceX's launch cadence has been crazy this year. They've already launched 60 Falcon 9 missions plus 3 Falcon Heavies, and then, of course, they launched Starship once, and coming up on another Starship launch, and probably close to another 30 to 35 Falcon missions this year. So right at the beginning of the year, SpaceX laid out this goal of launching 100 times. And I think, myself included, everyone was kind of like, yeah, that's crazy. They're never going to get close to that. And then here we are, 3/4 or so of the way through the year, and they're more or less on track to just miss it by a little bit. So with their current launch cadence, they're on track for, I believe, 93 launches or so. And then, we can expect that cadence to increase a little bit. So it's very possible that we end up with in the 95 to 100 launch range. So just barely missing it. So the other day on Twitter, Elon went to talk about how by the end of this year, they want to be launching 10 times per calendar month, have 10 Falcon missions per calendar month. And then later, he said they want 12 per month next year. So that's 144 Falcon missions a year on top of Starship, which next year will hopefully launch 5 to 10 times, somewhere in there, pure speculation. So just to put into perspective how crazy some of these Falcon missions have been, over 80% of payload to Earth orbit this year has been delivered by SpaceX. And most of that is, of course, going to be on Starlink missions, especially with these new V2 mini satellites. When they launch 22 of those, they're putting 17.6 tons into low Earth orbit on one launch with recovering the booster, which honestly just blows my mind that they're able to do that. With that pace, SpaceX would launch 144 times in 2024. And for comparison, in 2022, every launch provider on Earth combined launched a total of 186 times. So SpaceX will be nearly launching as much as everyone themselves and everyone else did combined 2 years ago, which I don't have words for how insane that is. So the way that they'll keep getting these, or the way that they'll keep increasing their launch cadence is by launching more out of Slick 4 East in Vandenberg primarily, and then also even more launches out of 40, and leaving 39A in reserve for Falcon Heavy missions and Dragon missions. So yeah, SpaceX's cadence is insane, and expect it to get even more insane.
Good deal. Yeah, the steamroller is working in high capacity very clearly. It's just, like you said, those numbers are just utterly insane. And it puts literally every other launch provider, even every other country, including our own, that launches satellites, sort of to shame. But you love to see it, because we all want to live in a future where access to space is routine and cheap. And this is how we're getting there. All these lessons, look at that. All the lessons learned from Falcon 9 are going to be crammed right into Starship, and hopefully we'll get to see Starship come online and up mass get cheaper and cheaper. And I mean, right? That's what we all want to see.
Yeah, and the fact that the turnaround times have gotten from, what they were of like a week or so is pretty good, 5 days. Now I think if you do the math, they're averaging between their 3 pads, one launch every 3.2 days. So it's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Bonkies, as you might say.
It is bonkies. I will confirm bonkies.
What's even bonkiers, or I don't know what the correct term is for more than bonkies. That's a Jack question.
You actually do know what the term is, but we'll move right along.
Kabonk, bonk knuckers, or whatever.
Yeah. I said we're moving along.
At this point, Slick 40, right, the pad at Canaveral Space Force Station, is able to launch quick enough to keep up with both of their drone ships on the East Coast. So regularly what we've been seeing is SpaceX will launch one mission, generally a Starlink mission, and then 4 to 6 days later, the pad will be ready to launch another. They'll launch another, and just as in time for them to launch yet another, the drone ship will have come back, they'll have unloaded the booster, and it'll be out at sea.
I feel like Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I feel like we're rapidly approaching the point where they need another drone ship.
It really does seem like that. That to increase their launch cadence further, they'll probably need another drone ship on the East Coast. The good news is they do have quite a bit of wiggle room still on the West Coast with just a single drone ship, because the drone ship is actually closer to the port than it is at Cape. So it takes them, if I remember correctly, more like 4 days to go. It's 3 or 4 days to go downrange, and then 3 or 4 to go up, compared to 4 or 5 each way on the East Coast. So you save about 2 days. And then currently at Slick 4 East, they're launching about every 12 to 14 days on average, it looks like. I have all of this on my spreadsheets, so I'm trying to do averages in my head. So they're able to get probably about a 33% quicker turnaround from Slick 4 East, which will drastically increase their launch cadence next year. But yeah, on the West Coast, on the East Coast, it probably seems like they'll need to make another drone ship, which thankfully Elon has said in the past is not too much work.
Good deal.
We need in the NSF forums like a drone name guessing game if we get word that they're making another one.
Yeah, good call. Something from the Culture series, or is that the drone ships are named after Culture series, or am I thinking Starship?
Well, we have just read the instructions, a shortfall of gravitas, and of course, I still love you.
Yeah, Chad is saying Culture. Cool. Well, you know what else is cool? Metal prints.
Especially to the touch, because they're metal.
Right? They're like literally cool to touch. Although don't touch them because you'll smudge them up, but you can always clean it off. But we do have a whole slew of metal prints in the store. And you can see them here at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. And, you know, no big deal. We got a new full stack. We've got some new full stack photos. We've got this awesome star trail shot. Oh, no, we'll go do the aerial one first. Okay. Allow me to talk for a moment here. This shot was from a plane at, I think, around 1,000 feet off the ground. And as you know, there is a 10,000-foot TFR above the launch site. So suffice to say, this shot took a little bit of planning and a little bit of luck. And I'm quite pleased with it. A lot of times when I shoot a photo, I'm like, it's cool. I could be better in these ways. I'm basically have no critiques of my own image in this case, which for me is rare. So it's a cool shot. Check it out if you want to. Can we go back for a moment?
I do want to point out while we go back that it was acquired legally.
Yes. No, again, we were outside of the TFR. That's why it required planning. Let's look at the Star Trails photo from Sean. This thing is epic. The top right there. Yes. This is a shot that I have had in my head for quite a while, and I did not think was possible given the light pollution, but our very own Sean Doherty. Doherty? Sean, how do I say your name? Doherty. I hope that came through on the microphone.
It did not.
Dang it. But yeah, this is an absolutely insane shot. It's a crazy amount of exposure time and a crazy amount of processing that had to take place in order to get this thing to be pulled off. We were out there all night. I also have a shot that's like tight on the ship, but I haven't had time to process it yet, and Sean is an absolute photo wizard. So this is a really cool one as well. There's all kinds of other shots in the store. I think we're working on getting some Atlas photos up as well. So if you are so inclined, head on over to shop.nasaspaceflight.com, grab yourself some metal prints, or maybe some new Starbase retro merch, because, you know, we're a big fan of the 8-bit design. It's really cool. And of course, there's also the mission patch, which I'm sure Kevin will show here in a moment, since I just threw him for a loop. But yeah, the store exists. Another way you can support what we do, and you get something fit. Oh, Sawyer got merch pied. And yeah, and it's just yet another way you can support what we do. The new patch, as you can see, everyone that's been snapping it up on the stream, is truly delightful. Great work from Pauline there. So yeah, that's the shop. Check it out if you like, or don't. That's your money. We respect that. But thank you either way for even considering putting some of our work on your walls or in your collection, what have you, on your body. Either way, seriously, thank you all for the support. And I think with that, we will move on to Starship.
What is
So-
Starship?
Fancy.
So, of course, the big news this week with Starship, aside from the fact that the vehicle has been stacked at the pad, is the good old FAA came out and said that the investigation is still open. And Elon on Twitter said, what are the corrective items? Which is kind of silly because SpaceX is the one that, in conjunction with the FAA, writes the list of corrective actions, submits it to the FAA. FAA can look at the list and say, sure, you're good, or also do this, this, and this, and basically sign off on it. But SpaceX is the one leading that investigation. The FAA is kind of watching along with and then has approval. So that is sort of the big news this week. And then, of course, we got news, what was it, on Thursday, that the mishap investigation was concluded, according to an FAA tweet. So that is a huge milestone ahead of the next flight, because they would not have been able to fly or even submit for their modified launch license without that investigation having wrapped up. So with that wrapped up, now the next step is for, I believe, the FAA to approve the list of corrections that SpaceX has submitted, which, correct me if I'm wrong, as of Thursday, SpaceX has not yet submitted for that launch license modification. So we're kind of now in, oh wow, someone bought my Starship IFT-1 print. Thank you for doing that. So yeah, that is sort of the state of play right now. We are waiting for SpaceX to submit for a launch license modification, and we're waiting for the FAA to sign off on approvals for those 63 corrective actions that SpaceX needs to take. But the list was tweeted. Was that today that Elon tweeted the list of actions?
Yep.
Did you guys read this? See that? Did you hear about this? You see this?
It was
This
very
morning, yeah.
obviously some redacted list that some probably lawyer wrote, because there were items on that list that were just like so impressively untechnical to the point that it was absolutely hilarious to read. Like there were items that were like adding seals to specific locations to prevent leaks or something just so vague like that.
Yeah, you can tell that the list was sanitized. Like everything that could possibly be anything proprietary, they've replaced with the word like certain, like replace certain seals in certain location.
Yeah.
But redactions or not, it's just nice to have, a little bit of visibility into what's going on in this back and forth. Another merch pie to Sawyer's face. So you love to see that. My favorite one was, it was like improve assumptions or something like that. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess it's probably better to have better assumptions, but you can see the sort of sanitized list here. I believe 57 of them are marked as complete, and 6 are marked as future actions. So this is SpaceX essentially saying to the FAA, look, we've done all the things we think we need to do. Are we good? We good, bro? So that's sort of where we're at with that. And I do have a question here that I find delightful from Stephen Montgomery, saying, we had fun making up ridiculous corrective actions for Starship this week. What's the most funny corrective action you guys could think of? Does anyone have
the
one?
actual list, or
No. Like make up a funny corrective action. What's a funny corrective action you can think of? The one I can think of is add the worm, but that's not that funny. Sawyer,
remove
Trevor, go.
vehicle failure, open parenthesis, close parenthesis from code, or something like that.
Make it fly better.
Yeah.
Take one of the rings and flip upside down. You did it the wrong way.
That's a good one. Oh man. Good question though. But yeah, let's continue talking about Starship. A whole bunch has happened this week. I think another thing that we should note is that the cursed Ship 26 has rolled to the old launch site, which kind of threw us all for a loop. Sawyer, or Trevor, you look like you have opinions about this.
It's just so ugly. I hope they don't fly it.
I sincerely doubt that they fly it, but it certainly looks like they're gearing up to do some static fire testing with Ship 26. It's on Pad B, which is where they've been doing static fires lately, and
Pad
it's got
B
its
is
engines.
the only suborbital pad that can do static fires.
Oh, did I miss where they modified Pad A?
Yeah, Pad A was for booster cryos, I want to say. It was part of the like cryo stations before that all got moved to Massey's. So right now, Pad B is the only one that can conduct static fires.
Got it. Yeah, I remember the booster like adapter that was on Pad A, and now that's sitting over at the Sanchez site, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I guess I didn't realize that Pad A is just sort of out of commission for statics at this point. But that makes sense. Let's see here. Oh, also, we flew this week. Remember, I was talking about flying in the picture in the metal print earlier. Do we have? Oh yeah. So yeah, as you can see, we got some video of the flight this week, and of course that will be in tomorrow's Starbase update. So whole lot of information that can be gleaned from these flights, and you'll love to see the whole entire facility from the air. It's really a good way to sort of wrap your head around the sheer scale of not just Starship itself, but everything they're doing and building down there, which is pretty neat. Don't show that. That's awful. That needs work. There we go. Slightly better. That's all me. This is my videography, so if you don't like it, you can yell at me. It's not easy shooting from 10,000 feet with a 500mm lens, but normally the footage gets a little bit of love before you all see it. This is straight up raw off the camera, as you can see. It's even kind of dim and grungy because I shot it in log, but don't worry, it'll look better in tomorrow's Starbase update. But there you can see the full stack on the pad. You can see Ship 26 on Pad B. Is it on Pad B yet, or is it waiting to be lifted in this shot? I can't quite tell. I think it's waiting to be lifted.
Yeah,
I don't know. Ask the guy who flew.
You know, it's been a long week, Sawyer. But yeah, it's waiting to be lifted in that shot. But we have a whole bunch. We have a whole bunch of pictures. If you're a member, all the pictures have been dumped into Discord. There's an insane number of them. And if you're a YouTube member, I think it's like Red Team and above, you also get some member photos on the YouTube member page as well. So definitely consider becoming a member if you are not already, because I think I uploaded like 100-something photos. And Sean also took a whole bunch of photos as well, some really good ones. So definitely check that out. I'm seeing people say 1x5.
Yeah, it was really choppy when there's screen sharing going on and showing the video.
Got it.
I mean, it's a plane though, not a choppy.
Wow. It's it's 4K 120 frames a second footage shot in log, so maybe the computer playing it is not happy, which understandable. Like I said, usually this stuff gets a little bit more love before y'all see it, but we wanted to show you it. We're excited about it. It's really cool shots, and full stack back on the pad. So stay tuned for tomorrow's Starbase update, and you'll get a whole bunch more where that came from. All right, so questions? Should we do questions? Is there anything I missed that we should talk about in terms of Starship? I mean, we're going to keep talking about Starship. We have a whole bunch of questions, but did I miss anything here in our list of items that we should hit before we jump into questions?
No, nothing new with the deluge system. You said missed.
Sawyer.
I'm losing it.
Sawyer.
It's getting towards the end of the show. I'm losing it.
Sawyer.
No, it's all good.
Sawyer. Trevor?
To
Yes,
move
Jack?
past that, I think it's just really important to emphasize that this is a list that SpaceX came up with, and they then work with the FAA to get it all approved. So any claims that some of these are unreasonable or that SpaceX is waiting on the FAA are just kind of false, because this is a list that SpaceX provided and what changes that they want to make. And then I think it's also kind of important to highlight that even if SpaceX received approval from the FAA to launch like right now, they are not quite ready. There's still plumbing that they have to reinstall for the deluge system. They removed some piping that I believe has not been installed yet, although we've seen new plumbing for it. And then also the CO2 storage tanks for the purge system has been removed, if I remember correctly. Alex says it's been installed now. And then the other thing is we believe that like booster engine section has not been closed out yet, and then a few other things on the whole vehicle. So they're very close to launch, but there is still work to do. I think is just important to emphasize real quick.
Absolutely. And I mean, even just to mention, to arm the FTS system on the ship, they are going to need to destack it from the booster when they are, a day or two out. We saw the same thing happen with Ship 24. So there are, some items remaining to be knocked out before ready for flight. And I will say, media has not gotten any information from SpaceX regarding remote setup or launch viewing for IFT2. So that is sort of another item in the... Obviously, they can do that whenever they're ready, but if they were ready to launch, I would sort of expect that to have gone out by now.
We also saw the NUTMARs that had been out removed, and they haven't been fully replaced with new dates yet, from what I can recall as well. The
Right.
notice to mariners.
Cool. So let's jump into questions. And of course, the first question we're going to ask is from Booster 9. Any guesses on how far IFT2 will get? Also, when FAA launch license? I mean, we don't know when they're going to issue the launch license. As we said, as of Thursday, SpaceX had not submitted for that modified launch license. But in terms of guessing how far we think this vehicle will make it in this launch, who wants to go first? I'll go last.
Interesting decision there. Fine, I'll go first. I think it's going to make it past hot staging. Beyond that, I don't know if the ship is going to get all the way to its planned suborbital trajectory. Will the booster make it exactly back to that spot in the Gulf? I also don't think so. It'll be interesting to see what happens when they try the boost back burns. But I think at this time we can at least expect a nice, clean separation and continuation of flight for at least a little bit.
Clean separation, huh?
That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm going to put my money on for now.
We'll come back to that. Trevor, go.
I'm going to somewhat avoid the question and say that...
Don't be an Alex. Don't do what Alex does.
I'll get back to it. So I think if they make it to stage separation, it's very, very probable that the ship makes it to orbit, or to the suborbit thing that they're targeting. Because I don't really see the ship causing too many problems. It's significantly fewer engines, and even though it's an older ship, I kind of don't see too big of an issue, given they've tested them before in the suborbital flights, and they've proceeded through these static fire campaigns super smoothly. So that leads booster flight, which I'm still very nervous about the fact that they haven't been able to get through a static fire with all 33 engines. That makes me think that they'll probably leave the pad without a few engines. And then from there, I just really hope that the purging that they've added will prevent all of these engine fires that led to a loss of control on Flight 1. So if there is a failure, it's probably going to be during booster flight. That said, I'm going to be kind of more on the optimistic side and say I think they make it to stage separation, which based on my previous logic then means I think they probably make it to, the Starship probably makes it to its suborbital flight path. That said, I don't know if the booster will survive hot staging. I think it's very likely that the booster blows up and then we just see...
Ignore that.
Yeah, sorry, Kevin said something in the back channel.
Just ignore it.
I saw all caps and I was like, what if I'm getting yelled at? So that's my guess. I think I think it's going to go well. I think booster is probably going to fail during hot staging, but ship will be okay. And then there's 0 chance that ship makes it through reentry.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. I do think the hot staging will be the big question, and the second big question, slightly below that first question, is how does a booster do in flight? And there are a huge number of upgrades on this booster as compared to Booster 7. Booster 9 is a much better booster in a variety of ways, including eliminating the hydraulically controlled thrust vector control for the Raptor engines. And I mean, you saw the list of corrections. A lot of those corrections are like relocate flight control harness on booster and things like that, and mitigating, like Trevor said, the risk of these engine bay fires, which is what partially caused them to lose control of the vehicle. So I'm going to say it makes it to staging. Beyond that, I don't know. It's tricky. If Starship can successfully separate from the booster and not get, to use an industry term, kerploded, then I think it does stand a fair chance of making it to the planned suborbital trajectory. Though the big question is how is that booster going to do on liftoff? And it, just to wrap this question up, it's really important that we underscore that, just like the first flight, the main deal here is to get the vehicle off the pad, get some data, and not nuke the pad. Because as you saw, it takes them a couple months to repair everything, even in a not worst case scenario. So we want to see this thing successfully get into the air, and we want to see the next flight soon after. I think it's entirely possible that we get IFT-3 before the end of the year, pending a clean launch off the pad and, no big long mishap investigation, etc. So just to set expectations, to set the table, whatever you want to call it, as long as they clear the tower and they don't blow up stage 0, it's a success. If they get to stage SEP, that's a bonus. If they get Starship to the planned suborbital trajectory, then, then it's all smiles. But I don't think anyone thinks it's going to survive reentry cleanly. And of course, they're not planning to do a flip and burn. It's just going to belly flop straight into the ocean, as far as I know. So really, it's just about getting this thing in the air and getting some data, because more data, more better.
I'm bringing back my hashtag from the first flight test. Hashtag save stage 0.
Nice, I like it.
That didn't work very well for the first flight test, though.
That's because not enough people were using it. I don't know. I mean, it also had to do with or water deluge and the concrete flying and all that. But that's another story.
Yeah, that's it. Let's see. Joel is saying booster rut on hot staging. All right, I'll allow it. Let's see here. Dalmatians is saying, do we have any updates from the FAA besides the Starship investigation closure? Nope. Not yet.
It's very typical for the FAA to not comment on these things.
Right. And I don't expect that we will really hear much from the FAA beyond when the launch license is approved, which could very likely be pretty close to launch itself, as was the case with IFT-1. I think it was like 3 or 4 days beforehand. So, that's sort of the state of play there.
And to reemphasize, they're not just doing this to SpaceX. This is how it works with any company that's based in the U.S., that launches in the U.S. Heck, they even have to get the launch license for Rocket Lab launching from New Zealand.
Right, because they're a U.S. company.
Yep.
Yeah, and we've gotten the same comments from the FAA regarding like the New Shepard anomaly that happened last time they flew. When you ask the FAA for comments, it's just there's an ongoing investigation, or the investigation's been closed, and we'll let you know more, when we're ready to. So the FAA just can't speculate much, and this is normal.
Good deal. Trevor is asking you, where did you get your Falcon Heavy model at?
Falcon Heavy or Super Heavy?
Oh, I guess they're asking Super Heavy. Do you have a Super Heavy model too?
Yeah, it's back there on my desk.
Nice.
Or on my nightstand.
Not just the Falcon Heavy that you pulled out of nowhere?
No, my Falcon Heavy is from SpaceX's store. that model is from actually one of our members in our members Discord. Just randomly one day was like, I have some Falcon or some spare Starship or Super Heavy models that I 3D printed, and he did all the work himself. And he asked if anyone was interested, and I was like, I'm interested. So yeah, it's awesome. You should join our member Discord to, meet these awesome people that make them. So it was Get Crispy, by the way. So thank you to Get Crispy.
Good deal. I mean, yeah, that thing looks pretty nifty. So once again, member Discord. It's awesome. Check it out. Let's see here. Rush Space is asking, do you think that we will soon see Ship 22's nose cone and other white tank sections in the high bay, and a ship get built in Mega Bay and a booster in Mega Bay 2? All right, so that lunar nose cone, the Ship 22 nose cone that's been repurposed as an HLS mock-up, that is not a flight article. That is straight up a mock-up, at least as far as we know. So do not expect to see that stacked on a tank section or what have you. Now, the broader question of when will we see white tank sections in the high bay and a HLS Starship get built? It's a good question. The answer is not very clear, but hopefully it's soon, because my goodness, that's going to be a sight to see.
I have an answer.
Go.
Before Artemis 3.
Good answer. Johan M. is asking, now that the investigation is closed into IFT-1, how far are we from a launch license? Are the tickets remaining important for the FAA? Again, we don't really have a lot of visibility at this point into the flow here. We could be, 2 weeks away. We could be a month away. We could be some other amount of time away that I haven't thought of. It's sort of up in the air right now, unlike Starship.
Hey, that was good.
Hey.
So if I had to guess, the 6 items that on Elon's list that he tweeted that have not been completed are items that they can't easily retrofit to the vehicle, and that they have to wait for additional vehicles. So I think that will eventually come down to, does the FAA agree that these changes aren't necessary for this flight, and that they're able to fly with little risk to public safety without these changes? And from my pure speculation, to me, that's probable that the FAA will agree to what SpaceX has done. My gut feeling is we're probably 2 to 3 weeks out from hearing from the FAA and then a launch attempt.
Makes
But
sense.
that's total speculation.
Makes sense. And thank you for being clear there, Trevor. Sawyer, go.
I was going to say, I'm looking at the items that are there. These aren't quick things, as you were talking about. Raptor reliability, improve all of these valve designs. You're not going to get that done in a couple of weeks. Redesign basically the entire network architecture for avionics reliability. If you've ever tried to build any network, let alone redesign one, it's quite chaotic. And then to maintain it, and I know there's a lot of great people working on the network side at SpaceX, but that's, again, not super quick.
Right. Let's see here. Ando Conmax is asking, when Starship is lifted onto Booster 9, is the tower autonomous or controlled by a human? As far as I know, it's fully autonomous, maybe with with human oversight. Trevor, do you have any thoughts here?
I have no idea.
All right, moving right along.
And obviously we see that they are confirming along the way as they go, though. Sometimes they'll go up and down again. You see the drone flying around, so
right.
They're obviously watching. There are people definitely close by.
Yeah, but there's nobody at the pad using a claw game lever to manipulate it's computer controlled with human oversight. I think is a safe bet. Jazz Throwout is saying SpaceX runs Starbase 24 hours a day. Do you know if they run a 3 or 4 shifts? And does any other spaceflight company operate like that? I can't speak to other spaceflight companies, but I do believe SpaceX runs 3 shifts at Starbase, although I could be wrong, not being a SpaceX employee.
I know one way to know is if you watch our Starbase Live 24/7 feed and keep an eye on all the cars coming and going.
Yeah, I will say, if you're leaving Starbase at 5 or 6 p.m. And you get to that Border Patrol checkpoint, oh, buddy, You're going to be there for like 30 minutes as you sit in a mile-long line of cars because that's the shift change. Woodman is asking, any spoilers for your plans on IFT2 coverage? Well, I can exclusively announce now on this stream that for IFT2, our coverage is going to be awesome. That's it.
Wow.
That's
groundbreaking.
That's it.
We will be covering it.
And we will show liftoff.
I'm sorry. No spoilers. It'll be great. We're going to have some awesome shots. We're going to do everything we can to plow all of the support that we've gotten from y'all and the merch pie Sawyer just got to the face into the best possible coverage that we absolutely can deliver to y'all. So definitely stay tuned. Nothing to announce in particular right now, but
I did say someone say with multiple cameras. Ooh, well, we saw what happened on the first test, Kevin. But hopefully he'll have all those cameras this time.
Jeez, did anyone get the number of the license plate on that bus you just threw Kevin under? Oh man, but yeah, we've got a whole bunch of things in the works, and we're very, very, very excited for IFT2, and that's part of the reason why we're so excited when y'all come out and buy stuff from the merch store or provide support via super chats or tips.nasaspaceflight.com or whatever it is. That support is so key to not just paying for equipment, not just paying for camera views or data for the robots or all of that stuff, but also just paying for our time. It's a labor-intensive thing to get all of this stuff set up. I mean, this year I've been in Texas more than I've been in Los Angeles. I practically live here now, although no, I'm not moving here. I have nothing to announce. But point being, it's a very time-consuming process, a lot of labor that goes into this stuff, and y'all's support is absolutely stunning and integral and appreciated because you're helping us bring this stuff to everybody all around the world. Let's wrap up here with a couple more questions. Adrian Giles is asking, is Ship 26 going to be used for testing fuel leaks and engine testing? We don't know what Ship 26 is going to be used for. Presumably they're going to do a static fire test. What kind of data they're trying to gather, hard to say without, word from the horse's mouth itself. But yeah, it's what?
I know that we could say for sure it's not winning any beauty contests, at least in my opinion.
No.
I don't think this is as big a debate as like worm versus meatball, but yeah, to see it without the flaps and just no tiles, no nothing, it just looks like, yeah, here's a giant metal sphere thing. Cool.
I think Alex's theory, I'm going to give him credit, is probably most likely in my opinion, and that's Ship 26 is going to be a reserve for if IFT2 doesn't go as well as SpaceX is hoping for, that if they don't make it through stage 1 burn, for example, that they'll just use it as a fancy nose cone for IFT3, where they again won't really care about the ship. And then if it does go well and on IFT3 they want to start getting test data for stage 2 with a newer design, then they'll use Ship 28, which has a bunch of upgrades over Ship 26, which has some upgrades over Ship 25.
Yeah, eventually we'll get to that full electric TVC on both vehicles. As we were talking about it earlier, but just once again, Booster 9, electric thrust vector control. The ship, hydraulic thrust vector control. So
25 has
25.
Yeah, 26 has ETVC. Just to make sure
I
we're
meant
not confusing
that's stacked up there now. Yeah, the one's on the pad now.
Good deal.
I don't know thankfully I have an earpiece in, or else you'd see my brain pouring out right now, I think.
Yeah, no worries. So I've been informed in our back channel that we're not wrapping up. We have more questions to do. Hooray, more questions. Sorry for the misspeak there. Clipper1736 Productions is asking, when do you think we will see the first Starship booster catch with the chopsticks? I'm going to say Flight 6, and that seems insanely soon, but that's just the number I'm going to pull out of the air and spit out at y'all. Trevor, when do you think we'll see a booster catch for the first time?
Flight 7. Just to one up
You just $1 me. This isn't The Price is Right. Get out of
Rip
here.
Bob Barker.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Rip Bob.
I think if you plotted my answer to this question over time, it would be like constantly oscillating. I do not think I have a clear consensus on this at all.
Fair. Sawyer, what do you think?
So you're literally saying like if it was still called IFT 6 and 7.
The
If that's
7th flight.
Yeah, I think you guys are highly, highly optimistic. Again, goal number 1, make sure the thing flies. Make sure that it flies well and flies like it's supposed to. Then deal with getting it to orbit. I think it's going to be a lot like what we saw with Falcon 9, which was get it up, get it reliable, make sure you get the hang of it down, and then make the attempts for landing, which, as we saw, didn't go super smooth in the beginning. And from their own even explosion video, then they finally landed CRS-8 on the drone ship. They had the land landing in December of 2015, I believe. So, yeah, I'm going to go with late 2024, early 2025.
I think a time frame is probably a smarter way to do that. Good job, Sawyer. Golf clap.
Thank you.
My one somewhat disagreement with that would be that I think it's going to be significantly quicker than they did with Falcon 9 in terms of number of launches. And if I remember correctly, Falcon 9 was on the 20th launch that they first landed for the first time. So I think if you kind of cut out the like V0 Falcon 9 launches, since Starship is more close to a reusable ship than that was, and cut out some of the original like V1.1 launches, you're probably in the 6 to 12 launch range. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I was there for the CRS-8 landing on the drone ship the first time, which was really exciting. And that was the tiny little stubby looking Falcon with the old cargo dragon on it. You compare that to the Block 5 right now, and there's night and day. But it took them a while. But again, their main thing at that point was reliability. And they did pretty good up until CRS-7 at that point. But ignoring that one, I mean, it still took them a couple of years. So yeah, I don't think it's going to take as many years as it did with Falcon, as it was a totally brand new concept at the time. I still think it's going to take them a little bit longer, though. That's why I'm saying the end of next year.
Makes sense. I'm going to ask my own question because I can. When do we think the first flight will have Starlinks on it? What flight number? Trevor, go first.
I'm thinking probably Flight 4.
4?
Yeah, at least with some like satellites they don't really care about, because surely the Starlinks that are in Boca Chica are like years old at this point. So I wouldn't be very surprised if they just don't really matter and they're like, we may as well put them on, test the payload deploy system, and then if we get some data, we get some data.
Makes sense. Sawyer?
Launch 22 wheels of cheese instead. I think that it would probably be... I'm going to go with Flight 6 or 7, where you thought was going to be the first booster catch. I think that'll be the first test with the Starlinks. Because again, you got to prove that the booster works first. Cool. Then you got to prove that Starship works. And right now, all of the tests still that we know of for the ship itself is suborbital. I think once they finally start trying for that orbital test, then they'll actually start including the Starlinks.
Good deal. Eric Frazier's asking, is it possible Booster 10 has been in the Mega Base so long not getting engines because they're doing some of those things and now it's ready to test again at Massey's? I assume by some of those things they mean the 6 remaining items on that list that SpaceX submitted to the FAA. That would make sense. You know, doing some more mods to Booster 10 before they roll it out to Massey's for cryo-proof testing. So, that's possible.
Well, they already have Realism Overhaul installed, so...
Nice. Nice. What am I reading?
I don't know. Are you on the correct website?
Original Min is saying, have you seen the worm ball from Interstellar? I've seen Interstellar. Is the worm ball in Interstellar? Chat, help me out.
I've seen Wormball, and it's not pretty, but in my opinion.
Is it actually in Interstellar?
I didn't think it was.
Anyways.
It's something kind of close, but I don't think so. Unpopular opinion, I fell asleep halfway through it, but...
I can't. What's wrong? It's a good movie. How? Sawyer. I'm speechless.
It took a while to get to the good action, and apparently I fell asleep before it did.
Well, all right. That's to each their own.
I know I'm going to catch some flack now in chat.
You are.
Apologies.
It's happening. Chat, if you have any more questions on Starship, throw them in to chat with @NASASpaceflight, and we'll answer a bunch more here. I am going to run through Super Chats, though, because I'm 45 minutes behind. So, Jared, grabbing something from the store. They say, been watching since SN4. Love y'all's channel. Keep up the great work. Thanks for the kind words and for grabbing stuff from the store. They got the IFT1 patch. Nova1 becoming a Red Team member. Thank you, Nova1. Meryl grabbing something from the store. Also saying, keep up the great work. Love these prints. I have them in my house and office. Oh, that's awesome. Ooh, they got one of Sean's prints. Nice choice. And y'all, thank you so much for the kind words. It's truly humbling. David got something from the store also. They said, I needed another shirt to go with the patch. Sawyer's just getting hit with pie after pie here. They got the patch. Excellent. Alan C. gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you for that. Musical Wolves, thank you for the support. They say, will the new FTS, that's Flight Termination System, be bigger in size than the previous or just more powerful? In fact, we have seen that the areas that the FTS charges are placed have been embiggened. So hopefully it works, perfectly cromulently if they need to activate that system. Are you doing
What's with all these $5 words today, Jack?
Are you doing okay, Trevor?
There's just lots of history behind those two words for me.
Let's just leave that there. Thomas Sawyer, you're just gonna have to exist in the not knowing land for now. Thomas.
Thanks.
Thomas grabbing something from the store. They say, love the great work, y'all. Thank you so much, Thomas. What'd they get? Bam! Trevor gets a print to the face. Thank you for
I need it.
buying that metal
Thank
print.
you, Kevin.
Oh, the headache now.
Telly also grabbing something from the store. They say, thank you for all the coverage and keep up the great work. Got a patch. Andreas. Wow, a lot of people getting stuff from the store. Thanks, y'all. What did Andreas get? Ooh, they got the retro shirt. Love it. And James, they say, I spy a merch pie right to Trevor's face. Bam! They got the patch. Thank you for that. Snowprog, thank you for the support. They say, many thanks to you young bucks making me space crazy. Trying to time the Starship's launch with my last vacation time. Steel print, Falcon 9, and Moon. Good deal.
Also, good luck.
Yeah.
If you wanna see a launch, you can pretty much book a vacation anytime to Cape Canaveral. At the rate they're launching for a week, you're pretty much guaranteed to at least see one attempt.
Sure enough. It is tricky to time a Starship launch. I've talked to a lot of people down here at Starbase. I've talked to a lot of friends who are hitting me up like, yo, dude, when should I come out to Starbase? And I'm like, look, if I knew, trust me, I would tell you. But a lot of the time with this sort of thing, with a brand new rocket and all these unknowns, you kind of have to set aside a block of time. And it can be tricky. It can be, time consuming. But if you really want it, if you really want to see it, and you try hard enough, you'll be able to see it. But it might take a week or two launches, or a week or two more than you expect before it launches. Andrew,
And a reminder, you can watch it on YouTube here through our NASA Spaceflight stream.
we don't talk about this a lot, and I do encourage people to come out to Starbase because it is absolutely the Wild West of spaceflight right now, and you should see it how it is right now, because with things ever changing, like them building the Star Factory, for example. It's not always going to be how it is right now. This is one of those things I say all the time, because everything in life is transient, and Starbase won't always exist in the same form that it does today. It won't always be the magical place that it is today. Maybe it turns into more of a buttoned up, sterilized launch site, or maybe it turns into more of an R&D site, as we've seen Elon discuss, and a lot of the stuff moves over to Florida, in which case it's all behind gates at Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. So on the one hand, yes, do try to make the pilgrimage out to Starbase. Do try to see a launch as early in this whole program as you can, because these are the most exciting ones, at least up until we get to stuff like landing on the moon and whatnot, in my opinion. However, that all having been said, kind of the best way to watch is from home. I mean, yeah, you're not there in person. Yeah, you don't get the crowd excitement and the adrenaline that's associated with that. But at the same time, when we're out here in the field, and Sawyer, I know you can speak to this, when you're in the field shooting a launch, you often miss news items. You often miss things that come across Twitter or what have you, or you just miss cool shots from, various other streams or our stream or what have you. Really the best way to view is sitting on your couch with a nice cold beverage of choice, maybe some popcorn, whatever snacky snacks you're into, and hey, look at that. We've got the members multi-view, which is also an absolutely great way to watch, so that you don't have to rely on whatever camera we're showing on the feed. You can look at literally all of the cameras. Now, it's not up right now, but it will be up for launch, and that is a thing that we've been doing for members as well. So if you can't make it for this launch or the next launch or what have you, I understand being disappointed, but temper that disappointment with the fact that you get to have all of the information flowing into your eyeballs unabated, unrestricted by poor cell signal. You get to not be baking in the Texas heat. It's also a very good way to launch. I mean, that's why we do what we do. We try as best as we can to bring these experiences in the best form that we can to everybody around the world. So that's my long and rambling way of saying, don't be sad if you don't catch this launch. Do try if you want to, and recognize that it might be a little bit of a slog, but at the same time, viewing from home, not a bad way to go.
Exactly. I mean, like for myself, at the Cape today, you get one view, mark one eyeball. That's the only camera that you get. Even if you film it on another camera, keep in mind, you're still watching it with just your eyes, either on your phone, which, trust me, if you go to a launch in person, don't watch it on your phone. Don't try and film it. Or if you do, put the phone down somewhere so you don't have to look at it. Soak it in with your eyes, because there are plenty of cameras out there that will capture anything better. There are plenty of photographers that will capture amazing shots that will help you remember it, but there's nothing like just seeing it. As you mentioned, though, you do just get that one view. And yeah, sure, by watching it, you may not get the feel, like the rumble, the vibration, and the sense of magnitude of it. That is very unique to being there. So if that's something you're interested in, I say it's 110% worth trying. If you just want to see the best view and the best shot of what happened, then honestly, I think your best bet is to watch from home in the comfort, grab a beverage of your choice. You got people you can chat with here in the NSF chat. And again, you could see from multiple angles what's happening right away, as opposed to like earlier when the booster separation happened, all I could see was direct sunlight. It was literally in the sun. And then on stream, you guys saw the booster section.
Oh, man. I mean, for me, for IFT1, I literally saw it go into a cloud. It was like, it's launching, it's flying, it's in the cloud. And then I saw nothing. And I was trying to, see if I could get it coming through the clouds or whatever I could snag in terms of imagery. And then I come back to my computer and I see everyone in Discord literally freaking out. Like, oh my God, how long was it tumbling for, etc. And I'm like, I was 3.5 miles away or something. I didn't get to see that. I didn't get to see anything.
Also, old man yells at a cloud. Very true, especially for the in-flight abort test.
An old man?
Well, no, me too. I'm also yelling at clouds.
Okay.
Going back to the in-flight abort test, in, I believe that was January 2020, where we were at the press site and gorgeously clear skies except for maybe a cloud or two. It launches, it goes, and we see nothing. It blew up right behind a cloud.
Yep.
So
I must have been must have been right next to you, Sawyer. I didn't realize you were there also, but I spent a significant amount of money and took off work because at the time I was not a full-time NSFer. And yeah, there was a nice, beautiful day. There's a cloud right like over here, and we're like, no, stay away, cloud, stay away. And it just got closer and closer and closer and closer. And sure enough, everyone at the press site got skunked. But
yeah,
that's just the way it goes.
on a boat happened to catch it, but yeah, for us, same thing. Again, that's the risky run. Is there was pretty much no clouds in the sky except that one, and it happened to be in the exact spot at the exact time when the stage blew up and the capsule separated.
Good deal.
Not good deal.
Well, I mean, no, but it's good that we can sort of provide context to everybody that is considering spending a lot of money and making a whole bunch of plans. And, you could do all the things right. You could be there when it launches and maybe not even see it, but that's just sort of the risk you take.
For all the great launches we talk about, there are always those ones where it's like, if only this had been in that spot, or,
right.
Something gets in the way. It happens. That's why I just have to keep going back to more, I guess, to make sure that I see all the good ones.
Right. I mean, InSight, completely fogged out. IFT1, clouds. SN11, clouds and fog. It's just, it's just how it goes sometimes.
It do be like that sometimes.
It do be like that sometimes. Bideford, thanks for the $1 super. Marvin Who, thank you for the super chat there. They say, do you guys think there will be a launch in September? Probably.
I'm going to say yes, at least an attempt.
It feels like 60-40 to me. 60% yes, 40% no.
Good answer. Marvin Who? That was Marvin's question. Thank you, Marvin. Nick, grabbing something from the store, thanking us for everything we do on covering the rocket industry and keeping them up to date with Starship. Cannot wait for IFT2. Let's go to almost orbit. WJ Barnett, thank you for the $20 tips there at tips.NASASpaceflight.com. They say, go NSF for IFT2 coverage. Thank you, buddy. Marco, I'm just going to say Marco. I'm not going to try and say your last name just because I feel like Nywinhouse? Okay, I tried after all. Either way, Marco, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. Richard, thanks for grabbing something from the store. They say, send it. What'd they get? A patch. Love it. Matthew, also grabbing something from the store. They say, when could we realistically expect Artemis 3? Also, will Polaris and Deer Moon happen later with a Dragon or Starship launch and landing? This is a lot to unpack. When do we think we can realistically expect Artemis 3, Sawyer?
I mean, again, they're trying for like 2026. I think somewhere between 2027 and 2028. Just because of the fact that there's so many things that need to be ready. You need to have, obviously, Orion and all that ready, and they'll get a lot of data from the upcoming crewed flight that will do the free return trajectory around the moon. Then you also have the in-flight refueling and the whole tanker system that needs to be figured out. And then, of course, the actual lander itself and getting it out there. So with all of that, between all of the different people that still have work to do, I think probably 27 or 28.
It makes me sad, but it's realistic. I just remember when SLS launched, we were all like, man, that was awesome. Why do we have to wait so long for the next one? Joshua getting some from the store. They say, can't wait for OFT2. I see there was a scrub of OFT1, but not for the launch. Simon what was it? Whoa.
What's that noise?
Is that a DOS?
Who's that? Oh, God. Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah, go.
DOS, they can't hear you on stream yet.
Wait, hang on. You're not coming through stream.
We promised that
We
You
all
can't
just
hear
looked insane as chat heard nothing, and we all reacted as if there was a giant voice from God in the clouds, almost like, I don't know. Has anyone seen Real Genius? Classic '80s movie. It's one of the best. Yeah, popcorn, laser, B-1 bomber. Let's see. Chat is still saying 0 by 0. While you figure that out, I'm going to thank my dad. Hi, Dad. Thank you for the super chat. I hope Starship doesn't ruin our family vacation plans at the end of the month and beginning of October. I really hope it doesn't. But that's why I got changeable tickets.
now I'm curious as to where you're going, but I'll ask after stream.
I'm going to England with my pops and my fam.
Oh,
It's going to be a good one. It's just you got to thread the needle here in between Starship activity, which is always tough. But you know what? This is not a trip I would want to miss for the world. So,
by the way, someone in chat pointed out why we couldn't hear Das, because he was a silent barker.
Hey,
What? They still can't hear me. Whatever.
Oh, they still can't. Oh, darn it! I was excited for the voice of God to chime in and yell at us about things.
I'm seeing 5x5 Das is in chat.
Oh, hey,
we hear you.
Oh, does it work?
Ross, you're on.
Yes,
I can talk
it's
now.
a naughty voice.
Nice. Did anybody explain what the heck is going on with this marathon NSF Live today?
Nope, go for it.
Nope.
Go for it. So we've been working. I don't know if anybody saw. We put a short out on YouTube, and I crammed an explanation of what's going on with the FAA and Starship into 59 seconds, and that wasn't enough time. So I recorded another 50 minutes of DOS explanations on what's going on, and then we cut that down, and that video is about to come out. But it is like straight up DOS rant mode, where I'm just talking about how the process works. We have some experts in there. I actually reached out to the FAA and got more comments directly from the FAA on how the process is supposed to work. And we put that into a video so we could explain what the heck is going on. That's actually what I wanted the title of the video to be, what the heck is going on with the FAA and Starship. I don't know if that's allowed or not, but I'm not on camera right now. I am over here working with Ryan. We have diligently been working to get this video, I guess, in the can or whatever, uploaded. It's 52% upload, 53% upload, 54% uploaded right now. It is flying towards the internet, and as soon as it's on YouTube, we're going to premiere it right here at the end so that y'all can watch me rant for, I think the runtime's like 23 minutes on what's going on with Starship and the FAA. And of course, Elon didn't make anybody's job easier because he released a list last night at like 4 or 5 a.m. or something like that. So we had the video mostly edited and ready to go, and then we had to turn around, well, mostly, I guess, recorded, and we had to put in some B-roll and stuff, right? But then Elon puts out the list, so we have to go in with pickups, because in the original recording, I said, SpaceX has the list. If Elon wants the list, he could just ask SpaceX for it. And lo and behold, he must have asked SpaceX for the list, and then he posted it on the Everything app. He didn't tweet it, I guess. Whatever.
He tweeted it. It's a tweet. I will die on this hill.
Oh no! And so we had to go back in, and literally in the video, I was saying what they could do is this, and then they turned around and did that last night, and so we had to put in pickups in this silly video where it's like, you'll never guess what actually happened. He actually released the list. But the whole process, like, what a mishap is, what triggers a mishap investigation, who runs the mishap investigation, like what are the steps in the process that they need to go through. I look at the letter from the FAA, and I look at the media release from the FAA, and then Elon's subsequent tweets, and just the whole confusing back and forth. The video analyzes that, and it sort of explains what the heck is going on, including what the specific next steps are. And I've even got another email out to the FAA asking them to clarify 1 or 2 more things for it. So we're going to ship the video to y'all here at the end of this stream before I actually get that response, and then maybe we'll make another video when I hear back from the FAA. But I already got 1 response back just to me from the FAA with some information on it. I was trying to get them to give me like an estimate on how long it would take, and they gave me an honest response about, hey, this is a big system. We're going to have to it's going to vary based on how SpaceX responds to us and that sort of stuff. But you want to know what the kick? Does anybody here? Have we already talked about the kicker? Because I haven't been able to listen to the whole show.
I don't think we've talked about the kicker, but really quick, are you clicking a pen right now? Are we
I
talking
am.
about? Are we talking about the clicker or the kicker?
No, I have some
Ah.
magnets on my desk, and I'm clicking the magnets together because I'm very animated right now.
Okay, go on.
No, so I think y'all might have talked about this, but the whole status of the license modification. Did y'all cover the license modification?
Yeah, we talked about it a bit.
Okay, cool. There's a huge thing in there, and I look at the language in the letters and the language in emails, Zeets or whatever, and like talk about exactly what the status is, because I want to know, like, I want Elon to tell us whether or not they've submitted that application or not. He needs to ask somebody at SpaceX, and he needs to put that out on the internet. Do a space or something. I don't care how it comes out, but I want to know exactly when that license is applied for, the modification is applied for, and then exactly when the FAA turns it around and actually submits a license. So, anyways, that is what we're stalling for. 73% uploaded now. I hope chat doesn't. Chat, do y'all mind too much that we're sort of stalling? Like, is this dumb, or should we not be doing this? I'm reading chat.
I think chat loves when we go off the rails, and if there's anything off the rails, then this
Considering
is
how many times already today we've gone off them.
right. So yeah,
Have we been on them?
and we have a bunch more questions we can jump into. So do not fret, Das. Fun fact: that video is being uploaded via Starlink, right?
It is being uploaded via Starlink right now. Like, it is flying out from Ryan's internet up to a Starlink set of satellites, I guess. Not just one, and then coming back down to me where I'm going to get it finalized and on YouTube and that sort of stuff. I've got gigabit fiber here, so it will be much faster than Starlink is, but it is going up via Starlink right now.
Hooray!
Das, there's a poll for this. Look at this.
The choices. Oh my gosh.
I want the video before it uploads.
How is I want my video and I want it now.
Yeah, it's my video and I want it now.
My video.
877 DOS now.
Yes.
877 DOS now. Wow,
877 DOS now.
we're
Anyways,
all consumers.
Rails are way too limiting. I like it. Anyways, let's see. I'm watching the real-time upload here. What window is that? 82. It's at 82% now. It's so close.
Do you want us to let you go so you can pull the levers and get it prepped up for YouTube? We got some more viewer questions about Starship we can jump into.
Jump into some more viewer questions. I just figured like it's my fault that this is getting sort of extruded here today. I want y'all to be able to see this because before Elon tweets again, sends more information out and then the whole video's out of date again, we just need to get it into the wild so y'all can see it. But I had a ton of fun. I was just like yelling at the camera and then I cut half of that out. So
good deal. I mean, I think I think I speak for literally everybody watching the channel and at NSF that we love your animated DOS splainers, as we call them. So I'm looking forward to this one just as much as everybody else.
I'm going to hop off. It's approaching 90% rapidly here. We're going to spew that out. We're going to do the whole thing with the wacky little premiere countdown thing. I don't know. I'm going to make it like the shortest countdown they'll let me. And we will share this video with you. Like the entire universe will see it all at the same time, except for me and Ryan. We've seen it. So
please pick a nice countdown.
Go, Jack. Go.
Also, just no spewing. Please don't spew.
But I mean, it's a very fast way of uploading things.
He's gonna spew. What is that, Sandlot?
That's a totally different thing. All right, I'm gonna get out of y'all's hair. Y'all, you've been crazy with the support today, like all the super chats and stuff like that. I can't say thank you enough. The folks on the show here that you're talking to, and then a bunch of people working in the background to not spew this video chunks out or whatever.
Why?
Thank you so much for all the crazy support, y'all. I'm gonna shut up. I'm out. Bye. Okay, the end. Vote in the poll.
Bye. Cool deal. Well, as we stall for time, now that cat's out of the bag, as you saw earlier, it was on Sawyer's desk.
I promise I don't keep my cat in a bag.
Good. Yeah, so as you heard, we are stalling for time because we have a piping hot new video blasting up to the internet, and we're going to premiere that right after this. It's not spewing, it's blasting. A little bit, technicality, but different.
But you missed the obvious one. We're about to launch a new video.
I have failed you.
Let's move on.
Cool. So, let's see here. Timsky is asking, why will the electric gimbals be better than the hydraulics from IFT-1? Trevor, since you're Mr. Move On, this is yours, buddy.
No, it's a really good question, and in many ways they are better, but they also come with their own challenges. So the whole advantage is that you get to remove the hydraulic system from the base of the heat shield, and with that you get to get rid of those hydraulic pressure units that were just a pain in the you-know-what, to use that term, for SpaceX with the first launch. And that's not an exaggeration at all. Those things were replaced and repaired probably like half a dozen times or so on the first launch, or leading up to the first launch. Then, of course, they even failed on the first launch. So SpaceX was very, very eager to get rid of those. So the main advantage of electric gimbaling is you can still gimbal your engines without hydraulic pressurization. However, it does come with the slight negative that it definitely is a little bit harder to get the same torque on your engines that hydraulics allows, because hydraulic is great at just rapidly applying these large torques to the engine. So it's a little harder, but SpaceX has smart engineers and they're able to figure out a way. So hopefully it performs well during this launch.
Good deal. Let's see here. Robert is asking, do you think the streamlined Starship, that would be S-26, although I wouldn't exactly call it streamlined, that's causing all this speculation, is actually a tanker test ship? No. Do we want to talk about why no? Do I get to bully you again, Trevor? Talk more.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely not.
Why?
So we can see several things. First of all, we can see that it was going to be a normal ship, and we can't see it in this view that we have right now, but it still has like all of the heat shield pins and stuff mounted on it. And then also, there are no changes compared to a normal ship. With the tanker ship, we're expecting, extended tank sections and, some propellant transfer system. And we have not seen a propellant transfer system at Starbase, let alone a propellant transfer system installed onto a vehicle, and definitely not Ship 26. So the leading theory is that this was a ship that SpaceX had around. They were going to finish, and then they were like, let's just get practice building these ships. So let's build it, but not complete it. And we saw they also did this with Ship 27. So that's the leading theory, but we don't have any official confirmation, but it's definitely not a tanker.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. We've sort of seen them start to build ships, even like complete ships, and then scrap them. Like I'm thinking of Ship 16, for example. It's not unusual for them to have so much hardware in the pipeline that they take a look at what they've already built or mostly built. Don't yawn. Are you yawning? How dare you? Am I that boring?
Yes, it's just you, Jack. It's definitely not that I didn't sleep very well last night.
Well, when you start becoming Tom Jones up there,
I'm Tom Jones? I missed the
You're
reference.
getting merch pied
you
now.
said it's not unusual.
Oh, wow. Wow, Sawyer. Anyways, it's not unusual.
Merch pies for Jack, quick.
It's not unusual for them to sort of scrap older ships, even if they're partially or fully built, in order to move on to upgraded designs. I mean, just take a look at Ship 16 and 17 and 18 and 19 for an example of that. But no, Ship 26 is not a tanker demo vehicle. It is also not an HLS test vehicle. It really just appears to be a ship that they partially built for whatever reason. The name's Dave. Dave's not here, man. Saying any starships with landing legs yet? Nope.
I mean, SN15 had them.
Yeah, I assume they mean new starships. Thank you, Mr. Technicality. Go drink some more water. Wake up.
Okay. All right.
Oh God, he's really gonna chug. This stream is completely off the rails. Dusty.
Sorry, who's the one here who's running on 1.5 hours of sleep after driving a round trip of about 300 miles to see the launch?
Is it Trevor?
Yep. All of the great launches out of Colorado.
Me. It's Sawyer.
Yeah, we know you. Thank you for doing what you do, buddy.
It's fun. I love doing it. That's why I do it. But I wasn't expecting to be going this long, so I think I'm running off of it's like funny gas. I guess it's like there's no gas left in the tank, so I'm running on the fumes, which makes me even more loopy and punny than usual. So apologies.
No
Sawyer,
worries.
At least there's not a broken SPMT that we're waiting to be fixed.
Oh, don't.
Man.
Don't
we
bring that back.
didn't even talk about that. That's oh my god. An SPMT broke down this week when they were transporting ship 26 to the pad. Was it 26 or was it 25?
25.
That was
26 was the day later.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. 26 worked. 25.
Because
Kinda-
with 26, there was a pickup truck behind with one of the units that they replaced during Chip 25 roll and a forklift like behind the SPMT. So they've obviously prepared for if this happens again.
They had a contingency plan.
Yeah.
Bam! Merch pie to my face.
Yay! Finally, it's been spread around now.
Dusty is asking, will Booster 9 hard touchdown into the ocean or light its engines for a slow, soft touchdown on the ocean?
Oh boy.
Wait,
Why are we supposed to
What are we
fight?
fighting about?
Fight. Is Booster 9 going to hard touchdown or soft touchdown in the ocean?
They're a neutral touchdown.
It's kind of a combination of both, because what we think is going to happen is that it's going to do a boost back burn, and then it doesn't have an entry burn since it's super heavy, and then it will do a landing burn, but it's expected that the landing burn will target like several hundred meters off the surface of the ocean so that they can get the data, but then the booster will just accelerate down from gravity and get destroyed in the ocean so that they don't have to go blow it up.
Good
Yeah,
deal.
or the other option is it launches and flight termination system activates and then it lands
Yeah.
everywhere.
Good deal.
Sorry, I had to bring it up.
No, you're good. You're good. Simon the Mac. Thank you for upgrading to launch director. That is one of the higher levels of support. That is truly outstanding.
Hey, then, wait, don't they get recognition on a show called like NSF Live or something at some point?
Yes, they get their name at the end of the show. Let's see here.
Which we're not at yet.
Not yet, because that video is not ready to go, and you all should be excited and sticking around for this DOS Splainer. I know I am.
And for those of you who are asking, you don't even have to leave this chat. You don't have to leave the channel. If you're watching right now in the actual stream, it will redirect you automatically to that video so we can all watch it together.
I'm mad at Crispy. I'm just gonna say that out loud.
Yes.
Yeah, that was cruel.
We're too tired for that joke, Chris.
Let's see here. Ryan Weber, thank you for the super chat. What's up, Ryan? One of our members in our Discord. Everybody talk about how much you love the orbital tank farm. It'll make Ryan happy.
We have to answer Ryan's question. I have to say, August slipped away into a moment of time, and it's been a long time coming, but I'm excited for this daylight launch.
Is that a Taylor Swift thing? Are you doing Taylor
There are
Swift things?
There are 3 references in Ryan's question and 3 references in my response.
All right, someone want to start throwing Bruce Springsteen references in because my concert got canceled at the end of the month.
Oh, I'm
He's
sorry.
dealing with peptic ulcers, but yeah.
I'm sorry. Adrian, grabbing something from the store. Is this where I merch pie myself? Splat. They grabbed an IFT1 print. Awesome. They say it was going to buy. It went away. Whoops. Oh. Well, thank you for grabbing something from the store. Bideford gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you again, Bideford, for the insane amount of support now and always and forever. Thank you so much. If you got a membership from Bideford, be sure to thank her. Mr. Alamari, thanks for the super chat. They say, do you think SpaceX will do hops and hovers to safety test booster chopsticks, catch, and get data? Say it with me now. No.
No.
You didn't say it with me.
I tried to. There's a slight delay, okay?
Jack Byer, that's my dad, with a $20 super chat. Thanks, Dad. I thought I clicked on that one earlier, but there you go. Unless that was another one. Was that another one?
Another one.
That was another one.
There was another one?
That was a DJ Khaled.
Thanks, Dad. Robert, grabbing something from the store. They say, love the coverage. NSF is the best. What are your plans for cameras on the moon and Mars? Mars? That's literally...
We have a Mars camera, right?
Yeah, we do have a Mars cam, although it's literally just what we call the camera. It's not on Mars. Nothing...
And occasionally we have cameras up in Virginia at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport, or Mars.
Right, thank you for that. The camera you're looking at right now is the camera we lovingly refer to as Mars Cam.
Well, less red than I thought.
But yeah, wow. But nothing to announce there. Obviously, if we ever get a chance to put cameras anywhere in space or orbit or low Earth orbit or suborbit or any of the above, I mean, heck, I'll take a camera to the bottom of the ocean. I don't care. Give me a camera. Nathan, grabbing something from the store. They say, keep up the great work. Next Starship flight will be awesome. Can't wait. Wish I could see it in person. What'd they grab from the store? A shirt. Excellent. Forrest, also grabbing something from the store. They say, keep it hot. Burn that candle. They got the patch. Love it.
Hopefully burning the candle at the right end.
Right, and not both ends. Justin, also with a store purchase. They say, very fine work, Sean. NSF, or NFS. Stop spewing. Just why? But yes, they got go ahead.
No, I got to shout out Sean's stuff because, obviously we love the Starship pictures and everything, but one of my favorites that he's added in is the astrophotography element, like the one that was along the beach down at Boca, where you get the Milky Way, and then you get the star trail shot on this. So huge props to Sean on those. Not that yours aren't good; they're actually also fantastic, Jack. But it's very different, and I like it.
Yeah, Sean's been doing some great work, so it's really appreciated, everybody out here that's getting some of his prints in the store. Because once again, when you get to or when you purchase those prints, the photographer gets a cut of the sale there. So good deal. Matthew, thank you for the support with the $10 tip. They say, will the crews of Dear Moon and Polaris launch and land in Starship or rendezvous with Starship in orbit with a Dragon? I don't think we quite know yet. Is that correct? I mean, it makes more sense at this point to me, given the maturity or lack thereof of the Starship system, to use Dragon for an orbit rendezvous. But I don't think we've had any official word one way or the other. Trevor?
Yeah, we haven't. The third Polaris mission, I think it was pretty clear that was going to be the first launch and re-entry on Starship, so that one I would pretty much count on being a Starship, or not having Dragon involved. But for Dear Moon, I have no idea. They haven't really said anything, and I think, if I had to guess, not too much mission planning has gone on yet, since that mission is probably 5 to 10 years out, somewhere in there.
And along those lines as well, when you think about the Dear Moon crew, how many people are on there? Leave Dragon can be modified to hold, 7 people at most? So I think there's more than 7 people on Dear Moon. So it's got to have to be through Starship unless it's multiple launches.
Makes sense. And that would kind of, in my mind, preclude the use of Dragon for Dear Moon, but who knows?
Oh my gosh, there's a countdown going on now.
Oh hey, it looks like that video is ready to go, and will be premiering here in just under 7 minutes and 15 seconds. So excellent. So stay tuned, because it's going to be a good one.
Video coming at the bottom of the hour for those who know what that means.
No.
I can't believe you guys have never heard that term, bottom of the hour. Think about it on a clock. If you're looking at the arms on a clock, where is the minute hand? It's at the bottom.
Where is the bottom of this? Where?
Trevor uses 24-hour time because he's weird. But I just hate it.
Just that. It's the whole, if you look at an old-fashioned physical clock, the bottom of the hour. At 30 after, it's pointing at the bottom of the clock.
Yeah, I don't look at old-fashioned
So
clocks.
top of the hour
I
is
get
when
I get
it's
time
at the
beamed
top of the clock.
straight into my brain via space lasers. Don't you know that? Don't you have that? Have you heard about this? Have you seen this?
I'm looking at a physical clock next to me right now, by the way.
Oh, I have some breaking news.
Breaking news, I still use old-fashioned clocks.
No, the breaking news is my laptop is at 10% battery, and I'm not going to the other room to get my charger, so I'm just going to add a little bit of suspense in here.
Will it last the 5 minutes and 58 seconds?
Come on, Apple. How good are your M1 chips? Matthew, thank you for the support. They say, follow-up, will the crews of Dear Moon and Polaris launch in Starship? Or didn't we just answer this?
Yeah,
We just answered that one.
But how is that follow-up? It's just up.
No, I think the
No,
tips
it's
for some
bottom.
reason are being duplicated today. Like all of them have shown up as twice. So I think we cleared one, not both.
Got it. But did the first one say follow-up? I'm losing.
Yeah.
I'm starting to lose my mind here.
Yeah. Again, up that way, bottom that way.
Stop it.
Bottom of the hour.
Stop it. I'm not even. I could make some bottom of the hour jokes, but I'm just going to move right along here. Trevor.
No, those would be bottom of the barrel jokes if you do that.
Oh, they would
gosh.
be. They would be. I love seeing Sawyer's face and knowing he's about to deliver a pun, and then immediately looking at Trevor's face to watch his reaction. It's priceless every time.
Yeah, that's what you normally don't get to see without the on-cam stuff. So it's like the anticipation when I get a joke in my head. It's like, wait a minute, I got it.
Yeah.
Yes. Now to see the existential dread is, yeah, makes
Trevor,
it better.
Trevor, do you have a rebuttal?
I love Sawyer's puns. I love puns in general, but I feel like puns are funnier if people pretend to hate them.
Yeah.
And do hate them, yeah.
Yep. I do generally groan at the puns, but it's part of the fun, right? It's part of the pun fun.
Oh yeah, and that just means you need more pun tokens in the fund.
Exactly.
Then it's a fun fund.
Trevor, are you asking your own questions in chat?
I am not, but
Are you sure? Are you sure
By the
about
way,
that? Are you sure
wait.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Important message here from Bideford with a very generous $50 super chat.
Oh, holy cow!
Says, go get your battery now, Jack, since you're using Gag Me With a Spoon Apple.
Do we really have to do this? Bideford?
So to quickly
I'm on
answer
Team
Trevor's
Bideford
question,
here.
because I'm biased since I love Falcon 9 and it's my name. SpaceX has currently launched through B1081, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, roughly 19 to 20 somewhere in their active Falcon 9 boosters in their fleet. However, there have been kind of more than 81 actual Falcon 9 boosters, because if you look at the Falcon 9 V1.0 boosters, they had a different designation. They were B0001 instead of B10001. So there have been on the order of 85 boosters, because some of the B10 series were like test articles and stuff. So there's a quick answer. Back to Jack.
Apple good. Back to you, Trevor.
Apple good. I agree.
Cool.
Apple bad, go Google. But one thing we can all agree on is that our members are absolutely amazing, in particular the launch directors and flight engineers who get their name here at the end of all of our NSF live shows. So thank you.
Indeed. Thank you so much to our launch directors and flight engineers, and indeed all of our members for supporting what we do. And also, once again, thank you, Bideford, for the very generous super chat there. Even if you don't like Apple products, that's fine. I totally understand, even though they're way better than everything else. End of discussion.
And they'll get even better on Tuesday.
I'm so excited. Are you excited for the keynote?
I'm so excited. I wish they were in person, though. I miss I don't really like the pre-recorded ones.
I don't like the pre-recorded ones. I like the in-person keynotes. Which iPhone are you going to get? I'm totally getting the Pro, and I'm probably going to get that Titan Black one. That Titan Black looks slick.
You mean the Titan Gray?
Yeah.
For me, it's
gray.
The titanium gray Pro Max for sure.
Oh, you're a Max guy.
Well, yes, I am a Max guy, and then also the Max is going to have the periscope lens, which is kind of like...
Oh, crap. Now, I don't want a giant phone, but I want a periscope lens. Why, Apple? Why?
I'm stuck in the middle of this conversation here. Team, I got my Pixel 7 Pro.
We
and I'm
know
very
you.
happy.
Yes, we're very happy for you.
But I'm stuck in between you guys talking about all this stuff. I'm like, what am I doing here in the middle?
Trevor, what's your favorite what are you looking forward to that is not iPhone related on the keynote?
Is there anything exciting that's not iPhone related?
I don't know.
I feel like there's rumors of a matte black Apple Watch Ultra, which would be pretty cool. But I wouldn't buy it.
This is a Series 4 that I got, I don't even know how long ago. It's toast. The button, I've wanged this thing on so much gear so many times. Like the screen is all jacked up. It's not a good look. So
Of course, it's your watch. It's jacked up because it's on.
Oh my gosh.
Which, by the way, how's your battery doing?
So that's been it for NASA Spaceflight Live this week. We are coming up on the premiere of this episode of this DOS splainer that DOS recorded. I can hear myself now, which is not extremely distracting, and it just went away. Anyways, the premiere is coming up. We're going to drop it right now at 4:30, so thank you, everybody, for watching NASA Spaceflight Live. I hope you enjoyed this 100% unhinged episode. I think this might be our most unhinged episode yet. But either way, here we go. Let's all go watch DOS yell about the FAA.
It's been a long time coming, but...
Is that Taylor?
Yeah.
Of course.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
Our CPA chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, planet. Water towers, fly!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange! Orange 45! Oh my god! Oh my god! Decollage! What is it? Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. Keep red. Sure. We don't need any more of these.